Chapter 35-41. Going to the Endless Ruins was an accident. Back then, Lu Li and Dong Yang went to destroy the altar in the Abyss of Demons. However, when the altar was activated, the explosion changed the direction of teleportation. Lu Li and Dong Yang were sent to the Endless Ruins by accident. Lu Ling and Xiang Linglong were taken to the Holy Maiden sect. Lu Li had no other choice but to join the Heaven Emperor sect. He wanted to save Lu Ling and Xiang Linglong through the identity of the Heaven Emperor sect. In the Heaven Emperor sect, he acknowledged a master who treated him very well. There was also Lord Li. He still owed the Hu clan a favor. It had been many years since he left the endless divine ruins. He had always been occupied and had never thought of going back to take a look. Now the Rui Emperor actually took the initiative to look for him? This surprised him greatly. How did the Rui Emperor know that he was in a Middle King realm? Why was the Rui Emperor looking for him? The Endless Ruins of Gods was a realm that was stronger than the Middle King realms, but much weaker than the realms of the chaotic starfields. In the old days, Lu Li found that place to be powerful, but now it was nothing. It was just like any small universe in the chaotic universe. The most powerful warrior in the Endless Ruins of Gods was only a Saint Emperor. Perhaps there were a few warriors who were infinitely close to the completion, but for the current Lu Li, they were too weak. Let's go back and take a look. Lu Li did not hesitate for long. After all, the Grim Reaper had nothing else to do. It would only take him a few years to go back to the Middle King universe or even the Endless Ruins of Gods. Now that the Grim Reaper's various systems were perfected and mutually restricted each other, there wouldn't be any problems with him leaving. His faction had nurtured 2 experts. When he was not around, these 2 experts would be in charge of the affairs of his faction. He talked to Lu Renhuang for a while, and then went to find Lu Ling and Xiang Linglong. Lu Ling and Xiang Linglong happened to be together with Bai Xiaoshuang and Enlure. Lu Li went straight to the point. Do you remember the Endless Ruins? Endless God Ruins. Lu Ling and Xiang Linglong looked at each other. Both of them were recalling the past. Their expressions were a bit unnatural. To them, the Endless God Ruins was not a good memory. Back then, the 2 of them had almost been forced to marry someone else and had tried to kill themselves many times. Their lives had been very bitter. Lu Ling asked, Lu Li, why did you bring this up? I have a master in the Heavenly Emperor sect. Do you guys remember him? Rui Emperor. Lu Li explained. He came to the Central King universe, saying that he has something urgent to talk to me about. Do you want to go back to the Central King universe with me? Rui Emperor? Lu Ling and Xiang Linglong were taken aback. They didn't expect that Emperor Rui had found a Middle King realm. Lu Ling thought about it and said, I will not go back to the Middle King universe. I will keep an eye on things while you are not here. Linglong can go back and have some fun. If we go back to the Endless Ruins, Lu Li, help me destroy the Holy Lady sect. Yes, destroy the Saintess sect. Xiang Linglong also said coldly, that sect is full of psychopathic lunatics. Many sisters have been harmed by the Holy Goddess sect. Lu Li, I will go with you. I'm going too. Master, can I go? Bai Xiaoshuang and Enlure said at the same time. Bai Xiaoshuang was a restless person and Enlure just wanted to broaden her horizons. Going out with Lu Li would be a nice trip. It had been a long time since she went out with Lu Li. Her pretty eyes were filled with longing. Okay, let's go. Lu Li could see the longing in the eyes of Bai Xiaoshuang and Enlure. Bai Xiaoshuang had no future in cultivation. Linglong, for example, was at the peak of the Great Emperor realm. She would need time to make a breakthrough. Enlure had just reached the Great Emperor realm. She could cultivate on the way, so there was no hurry. Lu Ling said, Lu Li, take Xia and Ma with you. Shuang'er and Lu'er will go. It will be safer with 2 powerful warriors. Xia was Xia Zhongtian and Ma Shangxing was Ma Shangxing. Both of them were very close to the consummate realm. They were the first 2 to go to Lu Li's side and they were very loyal. Luli thought it made sense. Emperor Rue would not come for no reason. Something must have happened to the Heaven Emperor sect. Luli was confident that he could deal with it by himself. That being said, it was safer for him to take 2 powerful warriors with him, since he had to take Linglong, Bai Xiaoshuang, and Enlure with him. Luli asked Lu Ling to send the message. Soon, the 2 powerful warriors came. Luli asked them to go with him for a couple of years to run some errands. The 2 supreme experts didn't say anything and immediately agreed. They went back to make arrangements. Luli went to Emperor Mo, Emperor Yu, Emperor Yi and Emperor Li to make arrangements. It was fine for Luli to go out for a year or 2. Emperor Mo was concerned about Lu Li's safety, and asked Luli to take some warriors close to the consummate realm with him. Emperor Mo would not feel safe with just Xia and Ma. Luli said with a smile, "If it is a consummate realm warrior, what is the point of me taking more powerful warriors? If it is not a consummate realm warrior, what does it matter if I take more powerful warriors or not?" Emperor Mo and the others could not refute Lu Li's words. Emperor Li and the others said nothing. They only told Lu Li to be careful and not to worry about the Reaper. As long as nothing happened to Lu Li, everything else would be fine. Now Lu Li had become the real soul, the representative of the Reaper. If something happened to Lu Li, then the Reaper would be doomed. If nothing happened to Lu Li, then everything else could be taken care of. With everything settled, Lu Li set off quietly. He did not spread the news. Only some higher-ups under his command knew about it. They only knew that he was going out for a year or 2, but not where. Lu Li left on a battleship with 2 warriors close to the consummate realm, more than a dozen Reaper aces, Xiang Linglong, Bai Xiaoshuang, and Enlure. Lu Li took the fastest battleship in the Reaper. It would take him half a year to get back to the Middle King realm. Bai Xiaoshuang and Enlure were cheerful and could not calm down. Lu Li and Xiang Linglong were in closed-door cultivation. Xiang Linglong had always been indifferent, while Lu Li had just reached the Saint King realm and needed time to stabilize his realm. Can I get closer to the consummate realm? Lu Li thought of something. He felt he had spent a lot of effort to reach the Saint King realm. He had been cultivating in the secret realms of the Reaper for 30 years, and he even used treasures from the Reaper to make the breakthrough. He felt that it would be impossible to break through to the Great Perfection realm without tens of thousands of years. Then it would be the Great Perfection realm, and that was even more uncertain. Emperor Li and Emperor Mo were hopeless, not to mention Lu Li. How can I improve my abilities? Lu Li was thinking about something. Flames and divine liquid of destruction would be used less and less. Of course, he could go to the Eye of Destruction and the Tomb of Flame Emperor again. After all, they were external forces. If he could have his own strength, Lu Li would not neglect the essentials. I don't have much divine liquid of destruction left. I will go to the Eye of Destruction after this is over. Lu Li made up his mind. He was not too worried. Because there were no enemies at the moment, there was no imminent pressure. He could take his time to find a way to increase his abilities. If worse came to worst, he could maintain his current abilities. Many warriors spent tens of thousands of years and only reached the Saint King realm. Lu Li should be content. Only when he was content could he be happy. Chapter 3542. Half a year later, the battleship arrived at the Central King region. Once they entered the Central King region, they boarded the battleship and flew toward the Liberty City. The Liberty City was a newly built city at the northern plains. It was built near the battlefield to commemorate the tens of thousands of warriors who sacrificed their lives to fight against the abyss of demons. The Liberty City was large but not luxurious. It was built in a simple and crude manner. But the city walls were tall and the architectural style was grand, which suited the northern style. Before the battlefield arrived at the Liberty City, many warriors had gathered here. There must be millions of disciples. All the civilians in the city came out to welcome Lu Li. Whoosh! Soon, the battlefield arrived and stopped in front of the Liberty City. Lu flew out with a group of powerful warriors and Xiang Linglong. Many civilians dropped to their knees at once. They shouted, "Greetings, Emperor Lu! Welcome home, Emperor Lu!" Millions of warriors shouted at the same time. It was a magnificent scene. More importantly, in the eyes and faces of the civilians, there was love and fanaticism from the bottom of their hearts. It was as if Lu was their god. One order from Lu and the millions of warriors felt they would die for him. "Please rise." Lu put on a gentle smile. He felt he had returned to his homeland, as if he had met his family. Lu greeted the civilians with Xiang Linglong and the others. Finally, they entered the Liberty Castle surrounded by Saint Emperor Xiaoyao and a group of great emperors. After some small talk with Saint Emperor Xiaoyao and the great emperors, Lu asked a great emperor to take Xiang Linglong, by Xiaoshuang, and Enluer to settle down. Then, Lu introduced Xia and Ma to Saint Emperor Xiaoyao. Saint Emperor Xiaoyao and the others sensed Xia and Ma's abilities. They were shocked. The two were unfathomable. They felt they could crush everyone into dust with a flip of their hand. After a while, Lu got down to business. He asked, "Where is Emperor Rui? Where is he?" Lu could sense where Emperor Rui was, but he still asked. Saint Emperor Xiaoyao took Lu to a nearby manor. Lu did not go with Xia and Ma. Instead, he went with Saint Emperor Xiaoyao. Emperor Rui had sensed it and was waiting outside a castle. Lu hurried to Emperor Rui. He was about to drop to one knee when he saw Emperor Rui. "Master! You can't." Before Lu could kneel, Emperor Rui helped him up. Emperor Rui said with a smile, "Back then, you were just passing by the endless ruins by chance. You didn't stay there for long and I didn't teach you anything. Moreover, you've already broken through to the Saint Emperor realm, while I'm still at the Emperor realm. I don't deserve to be your master. How is this possible?" With a straight face, Lu insisted on dropping to his knees. He bowed to the Rui Emperor with respect and said, "A teacher for a day, a father for life. You have helped me a lot in the endless ruins of divinity. Without you, I would have been dead. If you say so, I will be too ashamed to live." Back then, your disciple left without saying goodbye, which was already a great disrespect. After so many years of being tied up with trifling matters, not being able to go back to visit Master is a great sin. Please forgive me, Master. Good, good. Emperor Rui exclaimed with joy. Lu, it is enough that you have the intention. I am happy. In fact, we all know about your departure. Do you still remember Ancestor Swan? Actually, Ancestor Swan is the ancestor of Heavenly Emperor sect. Lu was shocked. That day, he could escape and return to the Central King universe because of Ancestor Swan's secret guidance. He didn't know that Ancestor Swan was the ancestor of Heavenly Emperor sect? After a while, he asked, "Why did Ancestor Swan do this?" Ancestor Swan said that you are not from Heavenly Emperor sect. Emperor Rui said with a smile. He said that you can keep your body, but not your heart. Instead of trapping you in this pool of stagnant water in the endless ruins of divinity, it is better to let you, a trapped dragon, ascend to the sky. Ancestor Swan is really a god, Lu exclaimed. In order to send him away, Ancestor Swan spent a lot of effort and passed on a secret skill of the soul. Ancestor Swan was kind to Lu. Lu nodded and said, "Is Ancestor Swan doing well? How is Lordly?" "Right. Master, you have come all the way to the Central King universe. Is there something important?" Ancestor Swan has passed away. Emperor Rui looked sorrowful. He sighed and said, "Something big happened at the endless ruins of divinity. Powerful enemies invaded. Now, the endless ruins of divinity has fallen. Ancestor Swan died to defend against the enemies. Before he died, he sent me out and asked me to ask you for help." Lu was stunned again. How did Ancestor Swan know his current strength? How did he know he was still alive? Could Ancestor Swan have divination skills like Ancestor Fufu? Lu Li's expressions grew solemn as he asked, "Which race attacked you? How are their strengths? How are the casualties of Heavenly Emperor sect?" "We have to start from 3 years ago." Emperor Rui told Lu Li about the changes in the endless ruins of divinity. It took him more than 2 hours to finish. Lu Li nodded slightly. He basically understood. It was a universe nearby that attacked the endless ruins of divinity. They contacted 2 major races nearby to attack together. The 3 races all held grudges against the endless ruins of divinity. The 3 races combined had many powerful warriors. They conquered the endless ruins of divinity easily. As a matter of fact, it was because the mountain behind the endless ruins of divinity had fallen. The endless ruins of divinity was close to the Tianyu Star region. Behind the endless ruins of divinity was a major race of the Tianyu Star region. Several years ago, that race suffered a heavy blow. Their territory was almost divided up. Naturally, the endless ruins of divinity was not spared. Do the 3 races have any backers in the Tianyu Star region? The 3 races were nothing to Lu Li. There were only about 10 warriors that were infinitely close to the perfect completion. He could wipe them out with one hand. Since the endless ruins of divinity had backers in the Tianyu Star region, Lu Li suspected that the 3 races did as well. "Yes," Emperor Rui said with certainty, "the 3 races have one backer. The endless ruins of divinity and the nearby universes also have one backer. Their backer seems to be a major race in the Tianyu Star region? It is called the Rhinoceros race, a famous race in the Tianyu Star region." "Rhinoceros race?" Lu Li nodded and asked, "Does this race have any perfect completion? If there isn't a great perfection deity, this matter will be very easy to handle." Perfect completion? Emperor Rui was surprised. This was too far away for him. He frowned and said, "I don't know. I have never been to the Tianyu Star region, and the Swan ancestor did not tell us." "Well, there is no hurry." Lu Li said to Saint Emperor Xiaoyao, "Send a message to the God of Death for me. Ask him to send me a copy of the situation of the Rhinoceros race." The God of Death had branches in the 7 galaxies, and he was well aware of the situation there. If Lu Li went to ask, he would get a message soon. Lu Li said to Emperor Rui, "Master, don't be hasty. Wait for a few days. When I have a better understanding of the situation, I will go to the endless ruins of divinity with you. As long as the Rhinoceros race does not have any perfect completion, even if the Rhinoceros race wants to interfere, I can handle it for you." The Rui Emperor was surprised to see Lu Li speaking so casually. Lu Li was just a Saint Emperor. How could he be so arrogant? Not only was he going to help them defeat the 3 races, he was going to help them deal with the Rhinoceros race. Chapter 35-43. Lu Li did not explain. Instead, he told the Rui Emperor to take it easy. A few more days wouldn't make a difference. The endless ruins of gods had fallen. Nothing would happen in a couple of days. The Celestial Emperor sect was broken up. The Swan ancestor and another progenitor warrior died in battle. So did the master of the Celestial Emperor sect. Lord Li and a group of elites of the Celestial Emperor sect were the only ones left, struggling at death's door. The Holy Lady sect had fallen as well. That being said, the Holy Lady sect only put up a bit of resistance. Then, sensing that the general trend could not be defied, they surrendered. Many other sects fought with the Celestial Emperor sect, and many were wiped out. The entire endless ruins of gods was occupied. Almost all the resistors were killed. Billions of lives in the endless ruins of gods were crying under the hooves of the 3 races. That day, Saint Emperor Xiaoyao held a banquet. Xia and Ma were present. Lu Li's wife, Xiang Linglong, by Xiaoshuang, and Enluer were there as well. Then there were some family patriarchs from the Middle King world. Of course, those family patriarchs were not powerful enough. They had to sit at the end of the table. Xia and Ma surprised the Rui Emperor. He felt the two were unfathomable, similar to the realm of the Swan ancestor. In fact, Xia felt the two were stronger than the Swan ancestor. More importantly, Xia and Ma were very respectful to Lu Li, so much so that they were like Lu Li's followers, the kind that worshipped Lu Li. Lu Li didn't explain. He just kept on toasting, saying master and master again and again. Saint Emperor Xiaoyao, Xia, and Ma were all respectful to Lu Li. The three powerful warriors had lowered their attitude and treated him with respect, which made the Rui Emperor flustered. The Rui Emperor had made some progress. He was at the later stage of the Emperor realm. Even Xiang Linglong was more powerful than him, let alone the powerful warriors. Back in the endless ruins of gods, Xiang Linglong was very weak. Lu Li. During the second half of the banquet, the Rui Emperor could not help but ask, I heard from Lord Xiaoyao that you are not at the Middle King worlds. Where do you live? Did he establish his own sect, or is he working for a sect? Lu Li found it funny. The Rui Emperor wanted to know why Xia and Ma treated him this way, but he was too shy to ask directly for fear of offending them. Lu Li did not hide anything. He said with a smile, Master, have you heard of the chaotic star region? Yes, I know, one of the 8 major galaxies. The Rui Emperor nodded and said, like the Sky Universe galaxy, it doesn't seem to be particularly far from here, right? Nearby are the Infinite Region, the Heavenly Dipper Starfield, and the Chaotic Starfield? Star Region is the star region of Star Region. Lu Li explained, there are 12 forces in the Chaotic Star Region. They are called the 12 Masters. They are the 12 most powerful forces in the Chaotic Star Region. Star Region, Emperor Li said. We are. That's why we arrived half a year late when you sent a message, because the Grim Reaper is a little far away. We? The Rui Emperor had never been to the Sky Universe Starfield, so he knew nothing about the 8 major starfields. However, since it was one of the 12 major forces in the Chaotic Starfield, it must be super powerful. But he was even more confused. If Lu Li, Shirlai and Old Ma were from the same force, then why were they so respectful to Lu Li? Lu Li, a saint emperor who had just reached the realm, was not a big deal. He paused for a while and looked at Old Xia and Old Ma. He asked, Sir Xia and Sir Ma have unfathomable powers. They should be top powerhouses in the Grim Reaper, right? Yes. Lu Li said with a smile, Shirlai and Ma are 2 of the great patriarchs of the Grim Reaper. They are the most powerful forces of the Grim Reaper. My lord, you're too kind with your praise. We don't deserve it. Shirlai and Old Ma hurriedly stood up and bowed. They looked terrified. Emperor Rui was even more surprised. He asked, What about Lu Li? What is your position in the God of Death? Lu Li smiled but said nothing. Shirlai said, Emperor Rui, Lord Rui is one of the 10 leaders of the Grim Reaper and one of the key figures. Basically, he is the boss of the Grim Reaper. Smack! The goblet in Emperor Rui's hand fell down and broke into pieces. His mouth was wide open and he couldn't believe his eyes. He had some guesses. He thought Lu Li was the holy son of the Grim Reaper or the apprentice or son-in-law of some big shot. That was why Shirlai and Old Ma were so polite to him. He didn't know that Lu Li was one of the 10 leaders of the Grim Reaper. He was more like the boss. One of the 12 masters of the Chaotic Star Region? Wasn't that one of the 12 most powerful figures in the Chaotic Star Region? Naturally, Emperor Rui was frightened. How could his apprentice be so fierce? Nonsense. Lu Li glared at Shirlai and said, The Grim Reaper doesn't have a boss. The 10 leaders are all on the same level. If you dare to gossip again, I will not forgive you. Ha ha ha. Shirlai scratched his head in embarrassment and drank a goblet of wine as punishment. Lu Li was the boss of the Grim Reaper. It was a well-known fact among the Grim Reaper. Even the other 9 leaders had tacitly accepted it. Lu Li was the most powerful in terms of strength, prestige, and the forces under his command. Even the Grim Reaper would tremble when Lu Li stomped his feet. Emperor Rui came back to his senses after a moment of absent-mindedness. Ignoring the goblet on the ground, he asked again, Lu Li, you are a leader of the Grim Reaper? Didn't you just reach the Saint Emperor? How? Ha ha ha. Shirlai and Old Ma looked at each other and laughed. This time Old Ma said, Emperor Rui, don't be fooled by him. Lu Huang's strength has nothing to do with his realm. When he was at the Great Emperor realm, he already killed dozens of warriors of my level. He once defeated a super race that had 2 warriors at the consummate level. Lu Huang is well known in the 8 galaxies. Basically, no major race dares to mess with him. Lu Huang should be the most powerful warrior below the consummate level. There is a saying in the 8 galaxies, it is better to offend the Grim Reaper. Ah! In addition to Emperor Rui, even Saint Emperor Xiaoyao was taken aback. Saint Emperor Xiaoyao knew that Lu Li was strong, but he did not expect it to be this strong. As for the family patriarchs at the Central King Universe, they were dumbfounded. Had Lu Li reached such a high level? This is getting out of hand. Old Ma, where did you hear this rumor? Lu Li scolded with a smile. Enlure stood up and said, Master, this is not a rumor. I have heard it many times. It has spread across the chaotic universe. Ha ha, Master, you are impressive. Master? Emperor Rui blinked in confusion. When Lu Li introduced her, he only said that she was Enlure. Emperor Rui thought she was one of Lu Li's wives. Little did he know that she was Lu Li's apprentice. Lu Li did this on purpose to protect Emperor Rui's pride. Enlure was too young. She had reached the Great Emperor realm at this age. She was so talented that she could reach the Saint Emperor realm in another 100 years. How could Emperor Rui endure this? Well. Lu Li smiled embarrassedly and said, Luer, don't be naughty. Go and greet your grandmaster. Master, this is my apprentice. She is not good enough. That is why I didn't introduce her. P.S. I was so tired yesterday that I fell asleep on the bed and forgot to update. When I woke up, my QQ was flooded with messages. I realized I didn't update. Sorry. Chapter 3544. 5 days later, the god of death sent a message that the information about the rhinoceros race had arrived. The god of death had a branch at the Heaven Universe continent. After decades of preparation, the businesses there were mature and the god of death had established himself. The rhinoceros race was a major race in the Heaven Universe galaxy. Naturally, the god of death would collect information about them, and a complete one at that. Average warriors and patriarchs would not have access to the information. But if Lu Li needed it, he had the right to access all the information. Lu Li browsed through the information and felt a headache coming on. The rhinoceros race was one of the top 10 races in the Heaven Universe galaxy and the 9th. The rhinoceros race had a clan leader who was at the consummate level. That was what troubled Lu Li as well. If the rhinoceros race did not have a consummate level warrior, he could suppress them easily given his reputation. The rhinoceros race wouldn't even dare to say a word when he wiped out the 3 major races. The consummate level warrior was not a big deal. The rhinoceros race was known for being simple-minded and short-tempered. If the rhinoceros race's race was wiped out, Lu Li believed that the rhinoceros race would take action. By then, he would have to face another major race, and the branch of the god of death might be attacked by the rhinoceros race as well. He owed favors to Emperor Rui, Lord Li, and the Hu family. Back then, the Hu family sacrificed a progenitor warrior to help him. The Hu family was in a miserable state. They were not wiped out, but they were hiding in a secret realm with the Heaven Emperor sect, struggling at death's door. Therefore, he must go to the endless ruins. Even if there was a consummate level warrior here, he must go. He thought about it and began to communicate with the leader of the god of death through the communication altar. After all, this was his personal matter and it would affect the god of death. Therefore, he must communicate with the other leaders of the god of death first. After several days of communication and discussion, Luli decided that the great patriarch of the god of death in the Heaven Universe galaxy, who was close to the consummate level, would communicate with the rhinoceros race. He wanted to see if the rhinoceros race could order the major races to retreat. If not, they could offer some terms to buy the universe. It was better not to fight if possible. The death god was currently in a period of rapid expansion. This battle would definitely affect the death god's interests in the Tianyu star field, and even their headquarters might be affected. It was definitely not worth it to affect the interests of the Grim Reaper for a race that was not very important. The Sky Universe star region was too far away, and there were paragons there. If they fought there, the death god wouldn't be able to obtain any benefits. Instead, unpredictable dangers and unforeseen changes would appear. Luli told Emperor Rui to be patient. As for the Grim Reaper, Sovereign of Wings was communicating with him remotely. The Grand Elder also went to meet with the Elder of the Rhino Ape tribe. He estimated that there would be a result in a month at most. The Rui Emperor was extremely anxious. He had been out for a long time. Who knew if there would be any unforeseen events? What if all the experts and disciples of the Heavenly Emperor sect were already dead by the time he arrived? He knew that this was not a small matter. Luli was not alone. He had to be responsible for a superforce. In particular, Luli mentioned that the rhinoceros ape race had a warrior at the consummate level, which was above the ancestor of the swan. Emperor Rui was not sure, but he knew this was not a trivial matter, and he could not act recklessly. Bai Xiaoshuang went out with an lure. One of them was Lu Li's wife, and the other was Lu Li's apprentice. To all the major families in the Central King universe, they were the queen and princess. The major families were nervous. Many family patriarchs went with them in person to protect them. Even though they were in a Central King universe, Luli was still worried. He asked Ma to come back in a month, and they could go anywhere they wanted. Both Anlur and Bai Xiaoshuang had stayed at the chilly winterland for a long time. Anlur was born at the chilly winterland, so they were teleported there. Luli was not in a hurry since there was still a month to go. He just told them that he would send them a message in a month, and that, if they were to leave, they must come back at once. Time moved on. For Luli and Emperor Rui, 1 month seemed to be an eternity. Finally, after 40 days, Luli received a message, but it was bad news. The Rhino Ape race refused. They would not yield an inch of land and warned the Grim Reaper to mind his own business. Otherwise, the Rhino Ape race would not let it go. The Grim Reaper sent a message as well. A patriarch of the Rhino Ape race was assassinated, and the Rhino Ape race suspected that it was the Grim Reaper. As a matter of fact, it was not the Grim Reaper. The Rhino Ape race was unhappy with the Grim Reaper, and they almost smashed one of his halls. This time, the patriarch of the Rhino Ape race asked them to leave before they could discuss terms. He sounded determined, leaving no room for negotiation. Luli snorted. Back in the days, he could subdue the Guam race. How could the Rhino Ape race be so overbearing when they only had one warrior at the consummate realm? Did they really think he was good-tempered? Luli thought for 2 hours and sent a message back to the Grim Reaper. After many rounds of discussion, Luli made up his mind. He must go to the Endless Ruins. If the Rhino Ape race wanted to fight, then he would play with them. Of course, this time, it was not the Grim Reaper playing with the Rhino Ape race, but Luli. Luli would go to the Endless Ruins of Gods and destroy the 3 major races. If the Rhinoceros Apes wanted to fight, then the God of Death would issue a notice. Luli would quit the God of Death and form a new organization that would declare war on the Rhinoceros Ape. This organization was fake, and so was Luli's quitting. Without Luli, the Grim Reaper could not become one of the 12 Masters. The Guam race would come for revenge soon. By then, the Grim Reaper would communicate with the gang race and tell Luli the truth. After Luli destroyed the Rhino Ape race, he would rejoin the Grim Reaper. This was Luli's personal matter. He didn't want to bring trouble to the Grim Reaper, which would be unfair. If he could subdue the Rhino Ape race, then he could come back at any time. If he died, then the Grim Reaper wouldn't be implicated. Of course, there was a problem. Would the 9 powerful warriors of the God of Death really banish Luli and divide up his territory and his warriors? After all, Luli was the dominant force now. The other leaders might have the same idea and turn the show into reality. Luli had thought about it. He didn't think it was possible. First of all, the Grim Reaper needed him and Lu Xiaobai behind him. Secondly, the Grim Reaper wouldn't dare to do this. If Luli didn't die and the Grim Reaper did this, then the Grim Reaper would suffer Luli's wrath. Without a consummate warrior, the Grim Reaper wouldn't be able to survive Luli's attack. Therefore, Luli didn't have to worry about the Grim Reaper. He could fight at will and beat the Rhino Ape race to their knees. In this way, Luli could build his reputation again and make the Grim Reaper more stable. Of course, if he could avoid going to war with the Rhino Ape race, he wouldn't. After all, there was a consummate warrior. That was an uncertain factor. On the off chance that the Grim Reaper could see through his traceless Tao, Luli would suffer a miserable death. Bai Xiaoshuang and Enlure came back. Luli made a decision. He asked Xia and Ma to take Linglong, Enlure, and Bai Xiaoshuang back while he went to the Endless Ruins with the Rui Emperor alone. His original plan was to take the 3 of them, Xia and Ma, to the Endless Ruins. Since the Rhino Ape race might get involved, then it wouldn't be appropriate for them to go. Luli would have to take care of them. Linglong, Bai Xiaoshuang, and Enlure wanted to go, but Luli was determined. The 3 of them didn't dare to say anything else. They went back with Xia and Ma. Between Shirlai and Ma, one of them wanted to go with Luli, but Luli insisted that they go back. 3 days later, the 2 battleships left the universe of Noon and flew toward the chaotic star region and the Endless Ruins respectively. Chapter 35-45. Luli didn't bring Shirlai and Old Ma with him. He only brought 3 of his trump cards. These 3 were top-level assassins and scouts. Luli needed these 3 Grim Reapers to help him gather information. Otherwise, he wouldn't have brought them along. They entered through the tunnel that Luli came out from last time, which was connected to the Hell region. The Hell region had a secret tunnel connecting to the Endless Ruins. Last time, Swan Master gave Luli directions to enter the Endless Ruins through that tunnel and took away Lu Ling and Xiang Linglong. The Hell region was a dangerous place. Luli had suffered a lot here. Now it was nothing for him. He could walk on flat ground. The 5 of them entered the Endless Ruins. Luli went into stealth mode and put Emperor Rui and the others into his interspatial artifact. Then, he snuck toward a small city. That city had an important secret branch of the Celestial Emperor sect. Luli needed to know more about the Endless Ruins. After 3.5 days, Luli arrived at the city and found a manor that Emperor Rui mentioned. He went in directly. It seemed to be an average manor with a small family living in it. There were maids, servants, children, and the elderly. It did not look like a secret branch. Luli checked and snuck into a castle. Inside the castle, he sensed some powerful energy. Warriors of the Celestial Emperor sect must be hiding here. He came to the castle and showed himself. A secret guard came out at once. He stared at Luli and asked, "Who are you?" Luli hid his energy so that the secret guard could not tell. He only felt Luli was dangerous. The secret guard crushed a jade talisman in his hand. The seal in the castle was opened. 3 powerful warriors rushed out. 2 were at the Great Emperor realm and 1 was at the Quasi-Emperor realm. They surrounded Luli. "Who are you?" One of the Great Emperor realm warriors looked at Luli in confusion. He felt he had seen Luli before, but he could not remember. Luli smiled and said, Emperor Lu, it has been a while. You? The great Emperor Realm Warrior was surprised. Then, he remembered and said, Aren't you the apprentice of Emperor Rui? Your name is Luli? How come you are still alive? After Luli was imprisoned in the Hell region, there had been no news for years. Neither did the higher-ups of the Celestial Emperor sect. All the disciples of the Celestial Emperor sect thought Luli was dead. How could he not be shocked when Luli suddenly appeared outside the castle? Luli? The other warrior of the great Emperor realm and the Emperor Quasi-Emperor were taken aback. Back in the days, Luli made quite a stir. They had never met Luli, but they had heard about him. Luli smiled. His interspatial ring glowed as Emperor Rui and the 3 Grim Reapers were released. When the Rui Emperor and the others came out, Emperor Lu was shocked. He was just about to make a move when he saw that it was the Rui Emperor. Emperor Lu exclaimed, Emperor Rui, you are still alive? We thought you had fallen long ago. Emperor Rui was sent by the Swan Ancestor to find Luli. He had been missing for over a year. Emperor Lu and the others all thought Emperor Rui was dead. The Rui Emperor looked around and waved his hand. Let's talk inside. It's not safe here. A group of powerful warriors entered the castle and activated the divine glyph. Emperor Rui introduced Luli and then Luli. In the end, Emperor Rui asked the 3 Grim Reapers, Luli, who are they? The 3 Grim Reapers were Saint Emperors. One of them was at the later stage of the Saint Emperor and the other 2 were at the middle stage of the Saint Emperor realm. To Emperor Rui and the others they were powerful warriors. Luli said casually, They are my men. How are things at the Endless Ruins? Tell me about it. Men? Emperor Lu and the others looked at each other. Luli didn't feel as powerful as the other 3. Also, Luli was so young and yet he had 3 powerful men. Luli didn't even introduce their names? Did it mean that Luli had many like them? The 3 Grim Reapers cupped their fists to Luli and then stood on the side emotionlessly. They didn't even dare to sit down. Emperor Rui nodded and asked Emperor Lu, How are things? Emperor Lu looked at Luli and explained, How else can it be? All the territories have been conquered. Lord Li is hiding in the secret realm with the remaining warriors and disciples of the Heaven Emperor sect. Many other sects are hiding as well. Only a small number of warriors are hiding in the small cities in the Endless Ruins. Almost all the major cities have been conquered. There are no more forces to fight back. The 3 major races have taken over all the major cities? Are there powerful warriors and armies in all the cities? Emperor Rui asked. There were so many cities in the Endless Ruins. In this case, the powerful warriors and armies of the 3 major races would be scattered. No. Emperor Lu was angry at the mention of this. He said, The Holy Girl sect and several other sects have become the dogs of the 3 major races. They are helping them control all the major cities. The 3 major races only have their armies stationed in several major cities. They know that if they were to rule directly, the Endless Ruins of Gods would be very resistant. Therefore, they let the Holy Girl sect govern as their puppet force. Luli nodded and asked, How many Saint Emperors are there in the 3 major races? How many of them are close to the consummation, and where are they located? Saint Emperors? Emperor Lu frowned and said, I don't know. But I can estimate how many Emperor Realm warriors there are. Don't worry about Emperor Realm warriors. Luli interrupted, How about this? Give me the places where their armies and powerful warriors are stationed and some maps of the Endless Ruins of Gods. You don't have to worry about anything else. Also, send a message to Lord Li and ask him to come out. I will take care of the rest. You will? Emperor Lu and the other Emperor Realm warrior looked at each other with doubt. Also, Luli would ask Lord Li to come out? What if Luli was on the side of the 3 races? Wouldn't the Heaven Emperor sect be wiped out? After a pause, Luli said, Luli, do not let your guard down. The 3 races have many powerful warriors. This is not a joke. One mistake and our entire army will be wiped out. By then, we will be doomed eternally. Ha ha. Luli said nothing, but the three Grim Reapers laughed. One of them said bluntly, "They are just 3 minor races. We, Emperor Lu, have conquered many major races. Over the years, we have killed more than 10,000 Saint Emperors. For us, Emperor Lu, they are nobodies." "How dare you?" Luli scolded. The Grim Reaper dropped to his knees in fear and said, "Emperor Lu, please don't be angry. I have spoken out of turn." Emperor Lu and the others were frightened to see the Saint Emperors trembling in fear. How powerful was Luli? How could he make such a powerful warrior tremble? Emperor Lu and the others suddenly realized that this once disciple of the Heaven Emperor sect was now so powerful that they could not even look up to him. Killing more than 10,000 Saint Emperors? If this was true, it would be horrifying. Emperor Realm warriors were nobodies to Luli? Then to Luli, they were all nobodies. Emperor Lu didn't dare to say more. He didn't dare to suspect that Luli was a spy from the 3 races. What was more, the 3 races had conquered the endless ruins of gods. Sending a spy here would be pointless. Even the 3 major tribes probably didn't have such a fierce spy, right? Chapter 3546. Emperor Lu provided the map and told Luli the location of the 3 races. Luli gave the map to the 3 assassins and said he needed detailed information in half a year. The 3 assassins snuck away at once. The 3 assassins were the best in intelligence gathering. Half a year was a short time, but Luli believed they could accomplish it. As assassins of death, if they could not accomplish such a simple task, then they would be too ashamed to be the ace of death. "Where is Lordly?" Luli mentioned Lordly again. Emperor Lu was hesitating. Lordly had become the new master of the Celestial Emperor sect and was the most powerful warrior there. If Lordly was killed, then the Celestial Emperor sect would be doomed. Emperor Lu wanted to say something but stopped on second thought. Emperor Rui had absolute trust in Luli. If it were not for Swan Ancestor, he would not go to Luli. Emperor Rui had seen Luli's abilities. Naturally, he believed that Luli could not be a spy. Emperor Rui said at once, "Emperor Lu, I went missing for the past year because Swan Ancestor asked me to go to Luli. Many years ago, he had foretold that the Celestial Emperor sect would face a calamity. To survive, we need Luli's help." Swan Ancestor? Emperor Lu and the others were shocked. They knew about Swan Ancestor's divination ability. But they did not expect that Luli was the savior of the Celestial Emperor sect. Seeing that Emperor Lu still did not believe him, Emperor Rui continued, "Master Li knows this as well. Send a message to him. Tell him that I have invited Luli back and he will come." "Okay," Emperor Rui said. Emperor Lu had nothing else to say. He went to make arrangements at once. Luli didn't want to waste more time. He stayed in the city. After all, the endless ruins had fallen. Almost everyone who deserved to die had died. It was pointless to worry now. It was better to get some information before taking action. This time, he wanted to play it safe. It would be best if he could force the 3 alien races to retreat and avoid a major conflict. He didn't want to confront the rhino apes head-on, either. There were no warriors or armies from the 3 alien races in this city. But the city owner had surrendered to the Holy Maiden sect. The city lord of this small city was an emperor-ranked martial artist. He was the sect master of a small sect and actually knew of the existence of Emperor Lu and the others. However, he didn't expose them because they were the vassal sect of the Celestial Emperor sect. The Celestial Emperor sect had shown them great kindness. After staying in the city for half a month, he received a message from Lordly. That was all. He didn't say anything else. Emperor Lu and the others were confused. Emperor Rui told Luli, who answered with a smile, "Don't worry. Lordly will be here soon." As expected, in just over half a month, Lordly came quietly. He didn't even inform Emperor Lu. He came directly to the castle Luli lived in. Luli sensed it. The runes on the castle were turned off. The gate opened quietly. Luli said, "Lordly, please come in." Lordly was still wearing his bamboo hat. His back was as straight as a sword, and his entire body exuded a chilling aura. He was like a god of death that had charged out of the underworld. He was slightly startled, then slowly walked in. Luli walked out from the room, bowed with a smile and said, "Greetings, Lordly." Lordly looked up at Luli. After a while, he nodded and said, "Luli, well done. You have reached the Saint Emperor realm in such a short time? No wonder Ancestor Swan thinks so highly of you." Luli smiled and said, "Lordly, I don't think you were that close to the completion of the Saint Emperor realm, right? It is not easy for you to make the breakthrough in such a short time." "Alas," Lordly sighed and said, "what is the point of making the breakthrough? Aren't you just like a stray dog that doesn't even dare to show your face? You can only watch as the previous clan master and ancestor swans sacrificed their lives. You can only watch as our sect was taken over by the enemy. You can only watch as so many disciples died in battle." Luli didn't say anything. He didn't have a strong sense of belonging to the Celestial Emperor sect, but he had stayed there for some time. The Celestial Emperor sect had helped him a lot. Luli thought for a while and said, "Lordly, don't be sad. I will avenge you. My men have gone to find out the situation. Do you know anything about the 3 races? If you can provide me with some information, I can take action earlier." "You?" Lordly didn't talk to Emperor Rui, so he didn't know about Luli's situation. Surprised, Lordly said, "Luli, don't be reckless. The 3 races have more than 10 warriors that are close to the completion of the Saint Emperor realm and more than 100 Saint Kings. It is enough that you are willing." "Ha ha ha!" Luli laughed. Then 2 rays of golden light came out from his eyes. Lordly froze and his eyes became confused. He was trapped by Luli's formation. Lordly had just made the breakthrough and was very close to the completion of the Saint Emperor realm. Luli's soul was 10 times stronger after the heavens tribulation. Therefore, it took Lordly dozens of breaths before he came back to his senses. After he woke up, all the hairs on his body stood up because he felt a terrifying danger behind him. His soul was in mortal danger. His divine telekinesis swept to the left, but he found nothing. In the next moment, he felt danger coming from his right, and in the next moment, he felt a fatal danger coming from behind. Buzzing, before Lordly could come back to his senses, a man appeared in front of him. Luli asked with a smile, "Lordly, how do you feel?" "What?" Lordly was taken aback. Luli had trapped his soul for dozens of breaths? What was more, the sense of danger could not fool him. He had been wandering between life and death for many years. He knew this all too well. Luli just disappeared and he didn't sense anything? What did it mean? It meant that if Luli wanted to kill him, he would have died many times. How could Luli have such abilities? Luli had just reached the Saint Emperor realm, and he could kill warriors that were close to the completion of the Saint Emperor realm? Freak, Lordly recalled the past. It seemed that Luli had always been a freak. Back in the days, he could form a Dharma realm and reach the Emperor realm at the 5th tribulation. There were many more strange things that happened later. Ancestor Swan's divination is so accurate, Lordly exclaimed to himself. He stared at Luli and said, "Luli, you can kill warriors that are close to the completion of the Saint Emperor realm?" "Yes." Luli answered with a smile. "I have killed more than 100 warriors that are close to the completion of the Saint Emperor realm, right? 100? Lordly opened his eyes wide again. He stared at Luli carefully to make sure that he was not joking. Lordly blushed and trembled with excitement. Taking a few deep breaths, he said, "Good, good, good. Luli, if you can help us defeat the 3 alien races, then Ancestor Swan and the previous master can die in peace. The Celestial Emperor sect will accept you as their master and follow your orders." Forget about the position of master. Luli waved his hand and said, Truth be told, lordly, I am one of the leaders of another force. I am here purely to return the favor. Lordly, my master and the Celestial Emperor sect have all done me a great favor. Now that the Celestial Emperor sect is in trouble, how can I stand by and do nothing? Chapter 35-47. Lordly had obtained complete intelligence. The three races' armies numbered in the tens of millions. There were a few hundred emperors, over 100 saint emperors, and 12 experts that were infinitely close to the Paragon realm. The leaders of the three races were all old monsters, and their battle prowess surpassed the Swan Ancestor, the Boring Blade race, the Blood Rock race, and the Talisman race. The three races had always been the sworn enemies of the endless ruins of gods. They had been fighting against the nearby universes. Since the two sides had different backers, the hatred could not be resolved. Now that the backer of the endless ruins of gods had fallen, the three races sent out their armies at once. First, they destroyed the nearby universes, and then they came to attack the endless ruins of God. The endless ruins of gods formed an allied force. Almost all the powerful warriors were sent out to protect the endless ruins of gods. Unfortunately, the warriors of one universe could not defeat the warriors of three universes. Therefore, the Swan Ancestor died in battle. The Celestial Emperor sect was wiped out. Many major races were wiped out. The endless ruins of gods fell now. The armies of the three races had spread out. Some of the armies and powerful warriors had been mobilized back. The situation here was basically under control. There were only some remaining forces. There was no need for so many warriors to stay. Lordly took out a map and carefully marked out the locations where the enemy experts were garrisoned. Luli nodded. He asked Lordly to take out his token to contact the three God of Death and asked Lord Li's subordinates to assist the three God of Death. Though he trusted the Celestial Emperor sect, they were weak. They might not be able to get some high-level intelligence. The surviving warriors of the Celestial Emperor sect and the three God of Death would be able to gather accurate information. Luli and Lordly discussed for a while and decided to attack one of the major races nearby. That race was stationed in the Celestial Emperor city, not far away. At Luli's top speed, it would take him 5 or 6 days to get there. Luli and the others did not go at full speed. They kept a low profile. Along the way, Lordly gave out many orders and began to mobilize forces. The Celestial Emperor sect was gone. But after so many years, there were many hidden forces. They were all in hiding. Once they were mobilized, they would be a force to be reckoned with. Luli and Lordly decided to wipe out the Blood Rock race in the Celestial Emperor sect as soon as possible and kill all their powerful warriors. After the army was eliminated, Lordly could represent the Heavenly Dharch sect to gather all the martial artists and experts of the continent. At that time, he would go and eliminate the experts and armies of the other two great races. Once all the experts and armies of the three races were killed, the reinforcements of the three races would arrive. As long as the reinforcements were repelled, the endless ruins of gods would be stabilized. As a matter of fact, Luli did not tell Lordly that defeating the allied forces of the three alien races was just the beginning. The real battle was with the Rhino 8. For Luli, the three alien races were not much of a challenge. In total, there were more than a dozen warriors who were infinitely close to the consummate realm. None of them were enough for him to kill. Now that some of the experts had returned, there were probably only 6 or 7 ultimate experts left in the endless ruins of gods. It took Luli half a month to arrive at the Celestial Emperor city. There was a mountain to the north of the Celestial Emperor city. Luli and the others were hiding in this mountain. There was a secret base in the depths of the mountain range. At the moment, there were already thousands of soldiers gathered in the base. Most of them were at the 6th tribulation level, but there were also some at the Dharch level. 2 days later, the space in front of Luli began to tremble. Then, a grim reaper appeared in front of Luli. Lordly was taken aback. He did not sense this grim reaper sneaking in. He only noticed it when the grim reaper showed up. Lu Wang. The grim reaper saluted with respect. He did not even look at Lordly. Luli asked coldly, "How is the Celestial Emperor City?" The grim reaper bowed and said, "There is an army stationed there called the Bloodrock race. There are 2 warriors infinitely close to the consummate realm, 32 saint kings, and more than 100 great emperors. The army has more than 2 million warriors." This ace Grim Reaper also gave Lordly a detailed map. This map was marked with the detailed deployment of the army. Lordly glanced at it and admired this ace Grim Reaper. The information provided by the Grim Reaper was accurate, much more detailed than that of the disciples of the Celestial Emperor sect. After all, there were many hidden disciples of the Celestial Emperor sect in the Celestial Emperor city. "Okay." Luli nodded. Looking at Lordly, he asked, "Lordly, when do you think we should do it?" Lordly thought about it and said, "How about we wait a little longer? We still have some allies who are not here. When they come, we will be stronger." "No." Luli smiled. "Leave the 2 experts who are infinitesimally close to great perfection to me. Leave all the Saint Kings to me as well. Once I'm done with them, you can gather all the armies and experts and clean up the army." But Lordly was taken aback. After a moment of hesitation, he said, "I don't think that is a good idea. How about I go with you? When we are together, we can look after each other. After all, it is too dangerous for you to go alone." Lordly was still worried about Luli. Even though Luli's strength was unpredictable, he was still alone in the enemy's camp. If something happened to him, it would be troublesome. By then, not only would their hope of recovery be dashed, they would not be able to answer to Luli's family and friends. Luli smiled but did not explain. That ace of death said with a smile, "Back in the days, our Lu Wang went deep into the enemy's territory. There were billions of warriors and hundreds of warriors infinitely close to the consummate realm. There were also warriors at the consummate realm chasing after him. Yet, he was able to pass through unhindered. This is nothing." Luli waved his hand and said, "It is decided. Wait for my news. I will crush the token and you will rush out. Try to kill all the warriors here. If you escape, it will be hard to hunt you down." Whoosh! Luli flew out at once. Halfway there, he vanished into thin air in front of the powerful warriors. Lordly and the others were breathing heavily. Whether the Heaven Emperor sect could recover would depend on this battle. If they won, the Heaven Emperor sect would become the overlord of the endless ruins again. If they lost, the Heaven Emperor sect would have to struggle at death's door. Maybe in 10,000 years, the Heaven Emperor sect would have a chance to rise again, or it would disappear in history forever. Lordly sent out Emperor Rui and Emperor Lu to monitor the Heaven Emperor city from a distance. They didn't dare to get too close for fear that they would be discovered. Half an hour later, the inside of the city suddenly became chaotic. The sound of explosions could be heard, as well as countless mournful bugles, as well as loud roars. The army stationed outside of the city whistled over and rushed into the city. The celestial city was in a complete mess. Bang! The jade talisman in Lord Li's hand cracked. It was given to Lord Li by Luli. The destruction of the jade talisman meant that Luli had succeeded. At this moment, Lord Li hesitated. Was it because the time was so short? How could Luli kill 2 warriors that were infinitely close to the consummate realm so easily? This feeling was a little surreal. "My order!" After hesitating for half an incense's time, Lord Li clenched his teeth and roared, "All the martial artists in the vicinity, attack! Destroy the Blood Rock race's army!" Chapter 35-48. Among the thousands of warriors, dozens were at the great Emperor realm, More than a dozen were at the Saint King realm. Only 2 were close to the perfect realm. The other one was a master of a force affiliated with the Heaven Emperor sect. If the experts of the Blood Rock race hadn't been killed, then the thousands of soldiers and experts would have been completely annihilated if they had rushed over. Therefore, Lord Li's decision was risky. If Lu Li had colluded with the 3 alien races, the Heaven Emperor sect would be wiped out. In the end, Lord Li chose to trust Lu Li, Emperor Rui and Swan Ancestor. Their distance wasn't too far, it only took them the time it took for an incense stick to burn to reach there. When they arrived in the vicinity of Celestial City, they discovered that Celestial City was already in a mess. Many places in the city were destroyed, corpses were everywhere. Celestial City had turned into hell. Lord Li and the others used psychic power to check the city. They saw many dead Saint Kings and 2 charred bodies. They were the Blood Rock race warriors that were close to the perfect realm. Lord Li and the others were relieved to see this. Charge! Lord Li roared as he swung the sword in his hand, sending out a rain of swords that swept out. Immediately, groups of soldiers were killed. With just one move, he had killed at least 1,000 soldiers. Emperor Rui and Emperor Lu started killing as well. For them, killing average warriors was no different from slaughtering pigs and sheep. It was too easy. Buzzing. Above the Celestial City, a man emerged with a relic weapon in his hand. He swung at a great Emperor Realm warrior, and the relic weapon vanished in the air. The next second, the relic weapon appeared on the head of the great Emperor Realm warrior. Then the head exploded. Devil, he is a devil. Lu Li flashed around, disappearing and reappearing. Every time he appeared, he would take away a dead body of a great Emperor Realm warrior. Lu Li had killed all the Saint Kings of the Blood Rock race. Now, he was killing great Emperor Realm warriors. At first, the Blood Rock race was enraged. But now they had calmed down. Lu Li was too strong. They were no match for him. Their patriarchs and great patriarchs had all been killed. If they did not run now, they would all perish here. Lord Li and the others were coming. They were all powerful warriors and most of them were lords. They were unstoppable. Many of the Blood Rock race soldiers were terrified, and they began to flee in all directions. Lord Li roared angrily and released a powerful area of effect skill. The other Saint Emperor and the group of Thearchs did the same. The Blood Rock race was the main culprit behind the annihilation of their Celestial Emperor sect. Now that there was a chance, how could they miss it? All the experts released their strongest powers and methods, striving to keep as many soldiers as possible. Those 6 tribulations also went crazy. They chased after the Blood Rock race's soldiers in a frenzy. Lu Li stopped after he killed another 2 Blood Rock race warriors. He floated in the air lazily. There were more Blood Rock race warriors in the distance, but none of them dared to come close to him. Moreover, when the soldiers saw him, they felt as if they were looking at a ferocious ghost. Their eyes were filled with terror. Go and help them! Lu Li waved his hand and the Ace Reaper appeared beside him. This was a late Saint King, a trump card in the world of assassins. He could kill them even faster. Lu Li decided not to worry about what would happen next. He believed that Lord Li and the others would chase after them for days and nights. Of the 2 million warriors, no more than 200,000 or 300,000 could escape. The number of warriors seemed to be large. However, without powerful warriors, these warriors were lambs waiting to be slaughtered. If Lord Li was given enough time, not too much, just half a day, he could finish all the warriors as long as they did not run. After a while, Lu Li flew into a random castle. Inside the castle, he sipped his tea and waited for the end of the battle. He waited for 5 days before Lord Li came back. Lord Li was covered in blood, the blood of his enemies. He had been killing for 4 days and 4 nights, but he was not tired at all. On the contrary, he was excited. He found Lu Li and stood in front of him solemnly. He bowed to Lu Li with respect and said, "Thank you, Lu Li, for your kindness." The Celestial Emperor sect is grateful and will remember this forever. Lordly, you are flattering me. Luli helped Lordly up and said with sincerity, Lordly, you, Emperor Ray, Ancestor Swan and many other warriors of the Celestial Emperor sect have done me a great favor. I am just doing what I should. Lordly, please don't stand on ceremony. Good, good, good. Lordly enjoyed Luli's attitude. He cupped his fists and said, I will go and clean myself up. We will talk later. Okay. Luli nodded. Lordly left. Not long afterward, he came back. Luli asked about the situation. Lordly told him that over half of the Blood Rock race warriors were killed and only a few 100,000 escaped. But there was nothing to be done. They were not fully prepared. Many hidden powerful warriors of the Celestial Emperor sect and affiliated forces were not here. It doesn't matter. It won't affect the overall situation. Luli did not mind. They were just some average warriors. It was not a big deal. He said, Next, raise the flag and call all the experts in the endless ruins of gods to gather here. In addition, mobilize a large number of scouts to investigate the situation of the other two races. Send scouts to guard the passages in and out of the endless ruins of gods. No problem. Lordly went to make arrangements in excitement. Luli, on the other hand, had nothing to do. He wandered around the Celestial Emperor sect leisurely. He went to the Celestial Emperor realm. Visiting this old place reminded him of many things. Unfortunately, the Celestial Emperor realm was damaged. Some lands of treasures were destroyed as well. Many treasures were taken away. The place was bleak and desolate. Luli remembered how lively the Celestial Emperor realm used to be. There were tens of thousands of disciples in the Celestial Emperor realm. It was full of vigor and vigor. But now, the Celestial Emperor realm had become a ruin. If it were not for him, the Celestial Emperor realm would have become a relic in hundreds of years. Now that the Celestial Emperor sect had risen again, the Celestial Emperor realm would become lively again. While Luli was revisiting this old place, Lordly made an announcement. The Celestial Emperor sect had wiped out the Bloodrock race. Celestial City and the Celestial Emperor realm had been recovered. As the new master of the Celestial Emperor sect, Lordly called all the powerful warriors of the Endless Ruins to gather at the Celestial City to fight against the three alien races and drive the invaders out of the Endless Ruins. As soon as the announcement was made, it spread across the entire Endless Ruins in a dozen days. Warriors of many forces and sects were ready to resign themselves to adversity. They had lost all hope and were ready to accept the rule and enslavement of the three alien races. Now that the announcement was made, warriors across the Endless Ruins saw hope. Lordly was a well-known powerful warrior. He made the announcement in the name of the master of the Celestial Emperor sect. Naturally, the credibility of the announcement was high. He would not lie about something as important as this. Otherwise, Lordly would be condemned by all and the Celestial Emperor sect would be ruined. At once, many warriors began to swarm toward the Celestial City. They joined the army of justice to fight against the invasion and the alien races. When some warriors arrived, they found many dead bodies of the Bloodrock race hanging outside the Celestial City. The news of the destruction of the Bloodrock race spread quickly. This time, more reclusive warriors were mobilized. They swarmed toward the Celestial City as fast as they could. Chapter 3549. The annihilation of the Bloodrock race's army shocked the Boring Blade race and the Talisman race. Because this was the Bloodrock race's territory, they did not leave any troops behind. They did not know what was going on. They could only send out scouts, as well as the Saintus sect and other sects to mobilize scouts to investigate the situation. The Bloodrock race had 2 Grand Elders and dozens of elders guarding this place. How could they be destroyed so easily? Most of the experts in the Heavenly Dharch sect had been annihilated, and only Lord Li managed to escape. Lord Li had just broken through to the Grand Perfection stage, so how could he be a match for the Blood Rock race's Supreme Elder? This matter was very strange. The Grand Elders of the two clans sent messages to each other while mobilizing their armies to gather together. In addition, they sent a message back to their clans, requesting for reinforcements from the three clans to suppress the turbulent situation here. Lord Li waved his arm, and the originally stagnant Endless Gods ruins started to surge again. Many hidden experts were mobilized, and countless experts from the smaller sects gathered at the Celestial Emperor sect. Just like how the Middle King realms had rebelled against the Devil Abyss back then, the Endless Ruins of God was their home. Now that they were being invaded by foreign races, all the citizens of the Endless Ruins of God should band together to protect their home and expel the invaders. In just 2 short months, millions of martial artists had gathered here. There were hundreds of martial emperors, and there was one more powerhouse who was infinitely close to the Great Perfection realm. It was an old demon who had lived in seclusion for many years. This old devil was famous for his wickedness. In the past, he had enmity with the Heavenly Emperor sect. However, in the face of the enmity between nations and families, these enmity could be put aside. According to the investigation of the Saintis sect scouts and the news spread by the Blood Rock race's escaping martial artists, they were defeated because of a mysterious expert from the Heavenly Emperor sect. He sneaked into the Celestial City and assassinated 2 of the Supreme Elders of the Blood Rock race. Then, he killed the Elders of the Blood Rock race one by one with terrifying speed. In the end, Lord Li and the others arrived with the army, and more than half of the Blood Rock race's army was slaughtered. After receiving this news, the experts from the Boring Blade clan and the Rune clan felt their hearts palpitate. They knew very well how powerful the 2 Supreme Elders of the Blood Rock clan were. Even if they were ambushed, it was impossible for both of them to be killed at the same time, right? This meant that the strength of the assailant was very abnormal. The 2 Grim Reapers working for Lu Li had been monitoring the situation of the Boring Blade race and the Rune race. They had gathered accurate information and sent it over. The 2 races also left behind 2 great elders who were infinitely close to great perfection, a few dozen Saint Emperors, and an army of around 4 million. Right now, the 2 armies were moving closer to each other. It was estimated that in a month or so, the 2 armies would gather together. Lu Li was ready to act as soon as he heard the news. Once the 2 armies gathered together, there would be 4 warriors who were infinitely close to the consummate realm. Although he was not afraid, why would he take the risk when he could kill them easily? Lu Li told Lord Li to come with the army and other powerful warriors while he went ahead. He even took out his battleship and flew over. His battleship was the Grim Reaper's battleship, and it was extremely fast. There was no such battleship in the Endless Ruins of God, and it could be easily detected. Lu Li was fearless. Not to mention that the 4 powerhouses who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection realm hadn't gathered together yet. Even if they did, he wouldn't be afraid. Therefore, he flew over openly. Given the speed of his battleship, he would encounter the Boring Blade race in half a month. The Holy Lady sect had become the ruler of the Endless Ruins of God. Every city had their warriors. Lu Li's blatant flying over alerted the Holy Lady sect. The Saintis sect sent a message to the Boring Blade race and the Talisman race. These 2 races attached great importance to this, but their armies were on the move. It was impossible for their supreme experts to abandon their armies. What if this was a trick to lure the tiger away from the mountain? Lu Li was not afraid that the powerful warriors of the Rune race would go to the Boring Blade race's aid. If they did, he could attack the Rune race's army and see if they would come back. For Lu Li, who had been through many battles, fighting against the 3 races was nothing more than a game. He flew in a straight line and approached the Boring Blade race. The Boring Blade race was panicking. They hadn't met up with the Rune race yet. the great patriarch of the boring blade race told the army to stop and set up camp. At the same time, he sent a message to the rune race to ask their great patriarch to come and help. Soon, the rune race replied. They told the boring blade race to hold on and they would come with reinforcements as soon as possible. 3 days later, the battleship arrived at the mountain of drifting clouds where the boring blade race was stationed. Luli flew the battleship to a halt in front of the army. The shield was deactivated and Luli appeared on the deck. What? The boring blade race was on high alert. They were surprised to see that there was only one Saint King at the initial stage. The two great patriarchs of the boring blade race were surprised. They didn't move. Instead, they used psychic power to check around to see if there were other powerful warriors lying in ambush. Where is the great patriarch of the boring blade race? Come out! Luli shouted. Several Saint Emperors of the boring blade race flew out and surrounded half of the battleship. One of the Saint Emperors shouted, "Who are you? Why are you helping the Heaven Emperor sect against the boring blade race?" "I am indebted to the Heaven Emperor sect." Luli didn't mind that he was surrounded. He said lazily, "Helping the Heaven Emperor sect is the right thing to do. Whether the boring blade race wants to be my enemy or not is up to you. Leave the endless ruins and promise that you will not invade again. Then I can spare you this time." Ha 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 ha. The few Saint Emperors burst into laughter, and one of them sneered, "You? Kneel down and kowtow to us for 100 times, and we will consider not killing you. We will only cripple you." Buzzing. The traceless saber appeared in Luli's hand. He waved it and the traceless saber disappeared. In the next second, the traceless saber appeared in front of the Saint King without any sound or sign. The Saint King didn't even feel the ripple in space before the traceless saber landed on his head. Boom! The Saint King's head was crushed. The other Saint Kings nearby were scared out of their wit. The two great patriarchs in the army were scared as well. They stared at the traceless saber in Luli's hand with fear. Whoosh! A great patriarch of the boring blade race flew over. He asked, "Who are you? I don't think you are a warrior from the endless ruins." Luli nodded. He knew that the two great patriarchs had recognized the supreme weapon. He said, "I am the Grim Reaper from the Chaotic Star region. Have you heard of me?" The Chaotic Star region? The great patriarch of the boring blade race frowned. Of course, he had heard of the Chaotic Star region. It was a superstar region like the Heaven Universe region. The great patriarch of the boring blade race had some impression of the Grim Reaper as well. He had been to the Heaven Universe region some time ago and heard some stories about the Grim Reaper. Wait. The great patriarch of the boring blade race suddenly trembled. A glint of coldness rose in his eyes. He stared at Luli and asked, "Are you one of the leaders of the Grim Reaper, Lu Huang?" Luli smiled. "Yes, I am. I see that you are knowledgeable. Do you want to fight or retreat? Just tell me." Chapter 3550. Death God Magnate? Lu Huang? Most of the boring bladers were confused. Was Luli famous? It actually made their Grand Elder's expression turn so ugly? Isn't he just an early-stage Saint King? It seemed like his weapon was a little special. It was a very high-grade divine weapon. The expressions of the two Supreme Elders from the Boring Blade clan became increasingly unsightly. They finally understood why the two Supreme Elders from the Blood Rock clan had died so mysteriously. They had been to the rhinoceros ape race, and had heard some things about Luli. Even though they did not know the details, Luli's ferocity had frightened many families in the universe region. They did not know much about Luli's means. But if the major families of the universe region were afraid of him, then Luli must be very powerful. That was why the two great patriarchs were so afraid. The fact that Luli dared to come here alone meant that he was either not an idiot or he had something to rely on. The two Grand Elders discussed for a while before one of them said, "Emperor Lu, our boring blade race, the Blood Rock race, and the Talisman race are all subsidiary races of the Rhinoceros Ape race. The Rhinoceros Ape race is ranked 8th in the Skyspace star field. This attack on the endless divine ruins is also the intention of the Rhinoceros Ape race's leader. If you insist on going against us, then you will become enemies with the Rhino Ape clan, so I hope you will be careful. Don't use the Rhino Ape race to scare me. Luli sneered and said, I have fought against races more powerful than the Rhinoceros Ape race. Don't worry about the Rhinoceros Ape race. Let me ask you, the Boring Blade race, are you going to leave or not? No. The Supreme Elder of the Boring Blade clan let out a deep roar. Then, he and the other Supreme Elder moved almost at the same time. The two powerhouses turned into lightning-fast auroras and charged at a terrifying speed. Their arms were as sharp as knives, cutting at Luli with a shrill noise that tore apart the space. Luli was only an early Saint King. Even if he had some fame, the two great elders did not really believe him. They decided to give it a try. They had already eaten the endless divine ruins. How could they be willing to spit it out just like that? Buzz, Luli's body glowed and then he vanished into thin air. So did the battleship. The two powerful warriors were still in the air. They used psychic power to check but could not find a trace of Luli. Luli felt he had vanished into thin air. In addition to the two great patriarchs, many saint emperors and armies were searching as well, trying to find Luli. However, after the time for one incense stick to burn, there was still no trace of Luli, not even a trace. The two grand elders searched everywhere and also split up to search. A supreme elder was searching in a mountain when he suddenly felt a fatal sense of danger coming from behind him. He suddenly turned his head, only to see a flame expanding and instantly engulfing him. Luli is over here. A saint emperor shouted. The warriors nearby began to attack in a frenzy. But Luli disappeared as soon as he made his move. By the time the nearby Grand Elders came over, the Grand Elder here had already turned into charcoal. He couldn't be more dead. Terrifying. The other Great Elder and all the Saint Kings felt chills run down their spines when they saw the Great Elder's corpse. Luli was like a ghost, vanishing right before the eyes of the millions of soldiers without them noticing. He had slain an expert who was extremely close to great perfection with a single strike. Buzzing. All of a sudden, another great patriarch's back began to tremble. Following that, another streak of flame expanded and engulfed the great patriarch. This time, Luli did not hide. He began to kill with his traceless sword. Though there were many saint emperors around, Luli did not mind. His physical strength and speed were amazing. Those saint emperors could not hurt him. He could withstand attacks from regular warriors that were close to the consummate realm. Naturally, he was not afraid of saint emperors. What was more, Luli would hide every now and then. When there were too many saint emperors, he would attack here and there. Sometimes, he would use formations and he would take out the Gong Huangding to fend off stronger attack. For him, these saint emperors and great emperors were just like adults playing with kids. After playing hide-and-seek for a while, the powerful warriors of the Boring Blade race realized that more than half of their saint emperors were dead. Many of their great emperors were killed as well. But they couldn't even hurt a hair of Luli's. Finally, they came to their senses from anger. If they didn't retreat now, they would end up like the Bloodrock race. Luli alone could kill millions of their warriors. Retreat, a saint emperor yelled and added, retreat from the endless ruins and go back to the Boring Blade universe. Boom! As soon as the Saint King finished his words, he was killed by Luli. The other warriors were scared, and they began to flee to all directions. Those saint emperors and martial emperors also fled in all directions. Luli stopped after chasing for an hour. He could have kept on going. If he had made up his mind to kill hundreds of thousands of warriors, it would not have been difficult. But powerful warriors had their own pride. Luli did not want to kill those great emperors. It would be beneath him and meaningless. After all, so many powerful warriors of the boring blade race had been killed. The rest of the warriors would leave the endless ruins. Now that they had left the endless ruins, Luli had achieved his goal. Why would he be so ruthless? Luli took out his battleship and flew toward the talisman race. Once the powerful warriors of the talisman race were defeated, the endless ruins would be recovered and his first task would be accomplished. He would only be satisfied when he could fend off the attacks from the three races and the rhino apes or reach an agreement with the rhino ape. The talisman race was not far away. It took Luli 10 days to arrive at the camp of the talisman race. He swaggered to the camp and shouted, "Great Patriarch of the talisman race, come out!" Whoosh, 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 many powerful warriors of the talisman race flew up. 2 great patriarchs of the talisman race showed up as well. One of them said coldly, "I am Fuwen. How can I help you?" "I have wiped out the Bloodrock race and the Boring Blade race." Luli said lazily, "Are you going to retreat or not? If you don't, I don't mind wiping out the talisman race as well." What? Luli's battleship was fast. News of the Boring Blade race's situation had not arrived yet. Therefore, the talisman race did not know what was going on. They were stunned by Luli's words. A great patriarch of the talisman race sneered and said, "Who do you think you are? How dare you to talk nonsense here? Piss off or I will kill you." Upon hearing this, the several Saint Emperor race patriarchs wielded their weapons and charged at Luli. They were ready to kill him at any moment. Luli's appearance was too strange and the destruction of the Bloodrock race was too strange. Otherwise, the powerful warriors of the talisman race would have taken actions. The traceless saber appeared in Luli's hand. His face was cold and his killing intent was building up. Lifting his saber, he pointed at the powerful warriors of the talisman race and said, "You have chosen this. In the future, don't push me. I have given you a chance. Kill him." The great patriarch of the talisman race shouted. More than a dozen Saint Emperor race patriarchs whooshed over and surrounded Luli. However, before they arrived, the battleship disappeared and so did Luli. The battle had begun again. Master 3. Chapter 35-51. There was no suspense in the battle. Luli killed 2 powerful warriors of the talisman race easily. Then, he killed a group of Saint Kings. The army of the talisman race collapsed. After killing a group of Saint Kings and Great Emperors, Luli didn't care about anything else. He didn't say anything and went back the way he came. After flying for 13 days, Luli encountered the army led by Lordly. Luli stopped when he saw the huge army. Not long after, Lordly flew over with a few experts. Luli opened the shield and Lordly flew in. Lordly was delighted to see that Luli was safe and sound. He said, "Luli, I am glad that you are fine. How is it going?" Many of the Heavenly Emperor sect's experts and soldiers had been killed. Hence, their intelligence system had been severely damaged. They had yet to receive any news about the situation here. Luli smiled. "Okay, it is done. The armies of the Boring Blade race and the Rune race have been defeated. More than half of their powerful warriors have been killed. I think many of their armies will escape from this universe. I will leave the rest to you." Lord Li and the other experts were astonished, especially those who had joined later, such as a reclusive old demon. His eyes were filled with suspicion. Luli was just an early Saint King? Was he that powerful? "Are you sure you're not bragging?" Lordly reacted quickly. He bowed and said, "The endless ruins will remember your kindness for generations to come." "Luli, thank you." Luli waved his hand and said, "Lordly, you are welcome. I don't care about anything else. I'm going to the Saintess sect." "To the female sage sect?" Lordly was stunned again. Luli explained, "I have a wife who used to be trapped in the Holy Girl sect. Before I came here, she told me to destroy the Holy Girl sect. This sect is too evil to be allowed to exist in the world. And Lord Lee nodded. You're right. We've been too lenient with them in the past. This time, they've surrendered to the three races and are helping the evildoers. We really do need to destroy them. Alright, you guys can go. Luli waved his hand. Lord Lee flew out with a group of powerful warriors. Luli changed the direction of the battleship and flew toward the Holy Maiden sect. The warship was very fast, disappearing into the horizon in the blink of an eye. Sect Master Lee. After Luli left, the reclusive powerful warrior couldn't help but ask, "Can you trust his words?" "Of course." Lord Lee glanced at the expert and said, "He is one of the strongest experts in the chaotic star fields. He can easily kill people at our level. He snuck into the Blood Rock race alone and killed 2 of their Grand Elders in an instant. To him, killing a Saint Emperor is as easy as slaughtering a pig." "How is this possible?" "He's so young." The old monster's mouth was agape. He murmured, "And he really is an early Saint King. I must have sensed it correctly." "Realm doesn't mean anything." Lord Lee shook his head and said, "Do you know that this person condensed a Dharma realm at the 5th tribulation and broke through to the Dharch realm? Back then, this person also did many shocking things in the endless ruins of God. My clan's ancestor even sighed with emotion that he was the son of heaven's mandate. If he didn't fall, then he would soar straight into the clouds and stand proudly at the peak." "Let's go and see the situation first." The old monster still didn't quite believe it. Seeing is believing. If he didn't see the Talisman race and the Boring Blade race being defeated, he wouldn't dare to believe it. The Saintly Goddess sect was panicking. The Celestial Emperor sect's information transmission system was destroyed, but the Saintly Goddess sect was very complete. Because the Saintly Goddess sect managed the endless ruins of God for the three races, their information network was even more developed. 2 days after the Boring Blade race and the Talisman race were defeated, they received the news. A mysterious expert appeared and easily massacred the Blood Rock race, the Boring Blade race, and the Talisman race. The experts of the three races were almost completely wiped out. Now, their armies were fleeing. The Boring Blade race's army directly flew out of the void, wanting to leave the endless divine ruins. The defeat of the three races meant that the Saintly Goddess sect had also lost, which meant that the Celestial Emperor sect had won. The Saintly Goddess sect had surrendered to the three races and helped them kill many disciples of the Celestial Emperor sect and its affiliated sections. Now that the Celestial Emperor sect had won, how could they let the Saintly Goddess sect go? The higher-ups of the Saintly Goddess sect even thought about leaving with the three races. However, most of the powerful warriors of the three races were dead. The Saintly Goddess sect could not contact the higher-ups of the three races. The three races didn't have the time to take care of the Saintly Goddess sect. The master of the Saintly Goddess sect had no time to worry about the Saintly Goddess sect. On the other hand, Luli had arrived at the Saintly Goddess sect. He did not stop. He swaggered toward the Saintly Goddess sect. The Celestial Emperor sect did not have the time to worry about the Saintly Goddess sect. But Luli had arrived at the Saintly Goddess sect. He did not stop. He swaggered toward the Saintly Goddess sect. Lord Lee had a complete collection of information about the Saintly Goddess sect. The master of the Saintly Goddess sect was a powerful warrior very close to the complete completion of the Saintly Goddess sect. The other masters were all Saint Kings. For Luli, it was not a big deal. The battleship flew past the Saintly Goddess city and entered the mountains of the Saintly Goddess sect. Luli arrived at the steepest peak. The battleship was so fast that the powerful warriors of the nearby mountains did not have time to react. They were alerted when Luli arrived. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! Many powerful warriors rushed over from the mountains and surrounded the battleship. Since the runes on the battleship were not turned off, the powerful warriors could not use psychic power to see inside. They had never seen the battleship before. But they knew something about it. They knew nothing about the situation inside the battleship. But when they looked at the battleship, they were filled with solemnity and fear. Shadow Queen. From inside the battleship came a voice of surprise. Then, the runes on the battleship disappeared. A figure as straight as a sword appeared on the deck. Luli looked at the elegant and charming lady. He smiled and said, "Shadow Queen, long time no see. Do you still remember me?" "Luli?" Shadow Queen stared at Luli with wide eyes. All of a sudden, she shouted in surprise, You are Luli?" Back in the days, Luli had brought great humiliation to the Holy Goddess sect and to her as well. How could she forget about Luli? Ha 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 ha. Luli laughed happily. He didn't expect that he could meet Shadow Queen again. Back then, she almost killed him. She sent out 3 powerful warriors which led to the death of Yen Zhu of the Hu family. She was the culprit. "You have reached the Saint Emperor realm?" Shadow Queen was surprised. Luli had been missing for years. It was said that he was imprisoned in the Purgatory region by the Heaven Emperor sect. Shadow Queen thought that Luli was dead. She didn't expect that after so many years, Luli would show up in front of her again and he had reached the Saint Emperor realm. But Shadow Queen had reached the Saint Emperor realm as well. She put on a mocking smile and said, "What? Do you think you can do whatever you want in the Saintly Goddess sect now that you have reached the Saint Emperor realm? You are so naive." "You are the naive one, not me." Luli smiled and said, "I have killed 3 masters of the Saintly Goddess sect. What are you going to do? I have come so far to wipe out the Saintly Goddess sect. I want your evil sect to disappear from the boundless ruins forever." "Ha ha ha you!" Shadow Queen laughed. But soon, she came back to her senses. She said with her eyes wide open, "You destroyed the Blood Rock race, Dull Blade race and the Talisman race? 3 masters." Chapter 35-52. Buzzing with a noise, the runes on the main peak were opened up. 9 luxurious chariots flew out. On the 8 chariots on the left and right stood 5 beautiful ladies with swords in their hand. They were all wearing black dresses, elegant and elegant. Each of them had their own unique temperament, like chrysanthemums in spring and orchids in autumn. On the golden chariot in the middle sat a middle-aged lady. She had a phoenix crown on her head, and was wearing a black and yellow imperial dress. She was graceful and elegant, just like an empress. "Greetings, master." Queen Shadow and all the powerful warriors nearby dropped to one knee with reverence on their faces. Some patriarchs of the holy sect even had fanaticism in their eyes, as if this lady was their sky, an omnipotent god. Master of the holy sect glanced over and then saw Luli. She stood up from the chariot and bowed. She put on a humble smile and said, "Lord Lu, Rong Yen greets you. Lord Lu, may you live a long life." Everyone was dumbfounded. They had thought that Master would make a move as soon as she came out. They didn't expect that she would bow to Luli in such a manner. Master of the holy sect was horrifying. How could she bow to a saint king at the initial stage? The patriarchs of the holy sect did not understand, but Master of the holy sect did. There was some information that the patriarchs did not know. Even if they did, they were not clear about it. Master of the holy sect was well aware that the destruction of the 3 alien races was almost the work of this young man alone. Also, Master of the holy sect had a mole in the Heaven Emperor sect. She could not be clearer about Luli. She knew that Luli came from the chaotic star region, and he was an overlord there. In other words, Luli was more powerful and horrifying than the 3 alien races. He was a real master. She could not afford to offend the 3 alien races. How could she afford to offend someone more powerful? Naturally, she came over to greet Luli. Everyone had to kneel. Who wouldn't? Everyone had to call Luli Dad, so why not? "Greetings, Lord Lu. Lord Lu, may you live a long life." Dozens of orioles and swallows followed suit and bowed in salute. Moreover, these dozens of women's eyes were like limpid autumn water, filled with tender feelings, making one feel pity for them, as if they wanted to be taken away from him. Luli threw a glance to the chief of the Holy Lady sect, and then to the dozens of young maids. He put on a smile. The chief of the Holy Lady sect was smart. She knelt down directly. Was she telling Luli not to slap a smiling face? If it was an ordinary sect, he would have let it go, but not the Saintess sect. The doctrines and actions of this sect were twisted and perverted. This sect was made up of a bunch of crazy women. Leaving this sect alive would only bring endless disasters to the endless ruins of God. Therefore, the sect had to be destroyed. For the sake of ancestor Yen aside, for the sake of Ling Long and Lu Ling, the sect had to be destroyed. His silence made the atmosphere awkward. Those patriarchs of the Holy Ladies sect held their breaths and looked at Luli nervously. The chief of the Holy Lady sect looked at Luli as well. As for the other young ladies, they were still bowing their heads and looking at Luli pitifully. After the time for dozens of breaths, Luli finally said, "You know me, Master Rong?" "Lord Lu, you must be joking." Rong Yen exhaled. Her pride was trembling. She said with a smile, "Lord Lu, you are one of the most powerful warriors in the chaotic star region. I have heard many stories about you over the years, and I have admired you for a long time. Lord Lu, who in the world doesn't know you?" The nearby elders were even more astonished. Their sect master actually had such an attitude. Was this still their sect master? How come they felt that facing Luli was like facing the great patriarchs of the three major races? This attitude was way too humble. Ha ha ha! Luli laughed out loud. Looking at Rong Yen, he said, "I am here to destroy the Holy Lady sect." "Master Rong, you are being so polite. How can I do it?" The patriarchs around were shocked, but Rong Yen remained calm. She said with a sweet smile, "Lord Lu, don't scare us. We are just a bunch of girls and we are timid. Lord Lu, you want us to surrender. If you want Rong Yen to work for you, you don't have to do it. This is negotiable." Rong Yen knelt to the point and directly talked about surrendering. She knew very well that the Holy Lady sect was no match for Luli. Not even the three major sects could stand a chance against Luli, let alone the Holy Lady sect. The three alien races had more than 6 million warriors, 6 of which were close to the consummate realm, and so many saint kings. Almost all of them were killed by Luli alone. What was the strength of the female holy sect? If Luli wanted to, he could flatten the Holy Lady sect in minute. Rong Yen wanted to surrender, but she did not say it out loud. She wanted to gain more benefits. Luli was on the side of the Celestial Emperor sect. The Holy Lady sect and the Celestial Emperor sect were like fire and water. If they surrendered, what should they do? Should they be below the Celestial Emperor sect or on an equal footing with them? If the Celestial Emperor sect wanted to deal with them, would Luli help either side or the Celestial Emperor sect? Ha ha ha! Luli laughed and said with mockery, "What do I need the Holy Lady sect for? Your sect's battle strength is meaningless to me." Luli's words enraged the patriarchs of the Holy Lady sect. The Holy Lady sect was the second most powerful force in the endless ruins of gods. After the Celestial Emperor sect was destroyed, the Holy Lady sect became the ruler of the endless ruins of gods. How could Luli say that the Holy Lady sect was useless? If Luli were close to the consummate realm, they might be afraid. But Luli was only at the initial stage of the Saint King realm. How could he be so arrogant? His tone made him sound like a god, and the Saintess sect was like a small sect in the mortal world. Of course we are useful. The master of the Holy Lady sect was not angry at all. Instead, she blushed and said, "The Holy Lady sect has hundreds of thousands of disciples, and they are all beauties. Our disciples are proficient in all kinds of strange skills. I am sure that you will be happy, Lord Lu." Also, the Holy Lady sect has many allied families and sections. If we surrender, then the entire endless ruins of gods will surrender. Lord Lu, don't you want the entire endless ruins of gods? Ha 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 ha. Lu Li burst into laughter. He shook his head and sighed. You are a bunch of frogs at the bottom of a well. The endless ruins of gods is only a small universe. Any of the 8 galaxies has tens of thousands of universes like yours. I have over 1,000 universes under my command. What do I need the endless ruins of gods for? What? The patriarchs looked at each other and whispered to each other. They were discussing the truth of Lu Li's words. Rong Yen, on the other hand, knew very well that Lu Li was telling the truth. She turned pale. After a moment of silence, she asked pitifully, Lord Lu, do you really have to be so heartless? Do you have to put us to death? Lu Li felt disgusted that an old lady was acting pitiful. After a moment of silence, he said, It is okay if you don't want to be destroyed. Disband the sect. Then, all the higher-ups can go to the Celestial Emperor City and wait for the Celestial Emperor sect to deal with you. 1 P.S. I have dementia and forgot to update again. Chapter 3553. Since Lu Li had put it this way, there was nothing more to say. Disband the sect and wait for the Heaven Emperor sect to deal with it? What was the difference between that and waiting for death? Given the hatred between the Heaven Emperor sect and them, death was the only thing awaiting them. The chances of them surviving were slim. All the patriarchs were ready to kill. They were waiting for Rong Yan's order. There were more than 30 saint emperors and more than 100 great emperors here. Almost all the powerful warriors of the Holy Lady sect were here and some were their allies. If so many powerful warriors were to attack together, many patriarchs believed that Lu Li would die for sure as long as they could make one successful move. Ha ha! Rong Yan's expressions did not change. She was still begging. She bowed again and said, Lord Lu, is this necessary? How about? Before Rong Yan could finish her sentence, she dashed toward Lu Li like a sharp sword. At the same time, more than a dozen saint emperors nearby took actions as well. They dashed toward Lu Li and released all kinds of horrifying moves in midair. Buzzing. Just as the master of the Holy Lady sect made her move, the battleship suddenly disappeared. At the same time, Lu Li disappeared as well. All the powerful warriors missed their target. The space where Lu Li was cracked open, and a huge black hole appeared. The horrifying force of space distortion spread out. If there were warriors at the center of the black hole, they would be torn apart even if they were close to the consummate realm. Lu Li was not torn apart. He didn't even show himself. It was as if he had teleported away. Rong Yan and the other powerful warriors kept on attacking. They expanded the range of their attacks to an area with a radius of hundreds of miles. However, the space over there was torn apart again and again, but Lu Li did not show himself. Find him. Rong Yan looked around coldly. She had a bad feeling. According to the information from the Bloodrock race, Boring Blade race and the Talisman race, Lu Li had the ability to appear and disappear unpredictably. Every time he launched a sneak attack, powerful warriors of the 3 races that were close to the consummate realm would be killed. Many powerful warriors were trying to track him down but none could find him. Rong Yan did not move. There were 6 other saint emperors around her. She had ordered them to surround her. She was afraid that Lu Li would sneak up on her. With the saint emperors around, Lu Li would have to kill one saint emperor to give her enough time to react. She could either run or attack Lu Li. A while later, a miserable shriek rang out in the distance. A saint king had been slain by a blade that had appeared out of nowhere. Right at that moment, Lu Li showed up. He was in a hall on a peak. Lu Li had snuck over without anyone noticing. Xiao. Many powerful warriors swarmed over and many attacks were aimed at the palace Lu Li was in. But Lu Li had vanished. The attacks smashed a bunch of palaces, but none of them hit Luli. As the group of experts searched the surroundings, there was an ear-piercing sound of space being ripped apart. Afterward, the traceless blade appeared once again and killed another Saint King. The supreme divine weapon not only had a Tao seal at the Great Perfection Realm, but it also had a trace of the might of the Great Perfection Realm. It would be difficult to kill experts who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection Realm, but it would be easy to kill Saint Emperors. Every time Luli attacked, he would flash away. However, there were no powerful warriors around him. After he succeeded in his attack, he immediately went into hiding. Therefore, the experts of the Saintist sect were fooled by him. His figure constantly flashed, and every time he appeared, he would take away a corpse. "Master, at this rate, all of our Saint Kings will die," a Saint King next to Rong Yen said, flustered and exasperated. Rong Yen did not give any orders, so she could only watch. Rong Yan's expression was clouded. She did not know what to do. Luli's skill of hiding was amazing. Every time he disappeared, she would try everything she could to find him, but she could not find any trace of him. It would be a miracle if Rong Yen could find him when even the Great Perfection Realm could not. "Let's go as well. Be stealthy and attack quickly. Don't stray too far away from me," Rong Yen told the Saint Kings separately. They could not stay here. All the patriarchs of the Saintist sect were dead. It was pointless for them to stay. They quietly flew towards the battlefield, all of them concealing their auras. "Charge!" After Luli appeared again, Rong Yen suddenly yelled. Her eyes glowed in 7 colors. She began to dance in the air as well. Her clothes became translucent, and she emitted an alluring energy that could enchant the world. Only the master of the Saintist sect and the master of the Saintist sect could cultivate this kind of skill of seduction. Rong Yen believed that any man would pause for at least one breath. For a powerhouse of her level, she could do many things in a single breath of time. At this moment, Luli did pause for one breath. This skill of seduction was amazing. His soul was not invulnerable. When he came back to his senses, the master of the Saintist sect had flown over. She reached out a hand to his face gently, like a lover caressing a lover. Buzzing, the gong huang ding appeared in Luli's hand. It enlarged and smashed at the hand. At the same time, Luli entered the magic realm. Bang! The hand landed on the gong huang ding, but the gong huang ding did not tremble. Instead, it was growing bigger. Then, the gong huang ding flew up to Rong Yan's head. Thousands of rays of light poured down, enveloping Rong Yan and a Saint Emperor. This is another supreme divine weapon? Rong Yan and that Saint Emperor were both trapped. They did not fall down. They were trapped in midair. The gong huang ding did not rely on gravity, but on the laws inside. The thousands of rays of light were the seals of laws inside the gong huang ding, engraved in the gong huang ding. "Master!" The Saint Emperors and Saint Emperors nearby were taken aback. Many came over and some powerful warriors began to attack the gong huang ding. But that was a supreme divine weapon. How could their attacks affect it? Luli came out from the magic realm and went back to hiding. Every time he was some distance away, he swung the traceless sword again and killed another Saint Emperor. Instead of attacking Rong Yen, Luli continued to attack the Saint Emperors and Saint Emperors. He did it on purpose. If he wanted to kill Rong Yen now, it would be easy. He could sneak over and release flames or the divine liquid of destruction. But he did not do it right away. Instead, he let Rong Yen watch as all the powerful warriors of the Holy Maiden sect were slaughtered. Boom, 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 boom. Luli kept swinging his saber as if he were cutting leek. Every time he made a move, he could take away a powerful warrior's life. There were only a few times when he missed. But those powerful warriors were still badly injured. Oh no, oh no! Rong Yen had been trying to break free from Gong Huang Ding's control. But no matter what she did, she could not get rid of Gong Huang Ding. She watched as the powerful warriors of her sect were killed. She was filled with rage and reluctance. When all the powerful warriors were killed, it would be her turn. Where is Lauanai? Why hasn't he done anything yet? That old thing won't run away, right? Rong Yen had an idea. She had an ally in the main peak. She told this warrior, who was infinitely close to the consummate realm, to act according to the circumstances. But he had not made a move yet. It was highly likely that he had run away. Third Master. Chapter 35-54. An hour later, all the emperors and saint-emperors of the Holy Girl sect were killed, except for Rong Yen and another saint-emperor. Queen of Shadow was killed as well. Lu Li didn't even bother to flirt with Queen of Shadow. He killed her directly. Lu Li had sensed the presence of the ally of the Holy Girl sect. Just as Rong Yen thought, that ally had slipped away. Powerful warriors of other sects that were lurking nearby had left. They were all frightened by Lu Li. They had been watching, but they all sneaked away when they saw Rong Yen being suppressed by the Gong Huangding. So, Lu Li was just as powerful as the rumors said. He did wipe out the armies and powerful warriors of the 3 alien races all by himself. If they didn't leave now, then death would be the only thing waiting for them. It was certain that the Holy Girl sect would be destroyed. If they stayed, then their sects would be destroyed as well. Lu Li flew over slowly with the traceless saber in his hand. The Saint Emperor that was suppressed along with Rong Yen was killed by Lu Li. Rong Yen was the only powerful warrior of the Holy Girl sect left. Rong Yen was lying in midair, which was quite an indecent sight. She stared at Lu Li with her eyes wide open. There was no hatred or anger in her eyes, only pleading and longing. Lord Lu. It was difficult for her to speak, but she could send a message. Lord Lu, please, don't kill me. I can be your slave or slave, as long as you don't kill me. Lu Li was tempted. He asked, You are willing to offer your seal of soul and become my soul slave? What is a soul slave? Rong Yen asked, and then her pretty face turned pale. She was experienced and knowledgeable, so she quickly understood. Soul slave, as the name suggested, was a slave that could control the soul. Once the soul was controlled, the soul slave would be a slave for the rest of her life. She would never have the chance to regain her freedom. Rong Yen was a person with pride. She was a powerful warrior that was very close to the consummate realm. She was the chief of the Holy Girl sect, and recently, she had become the Empress of the Endless Ruins. To become Lu Li's soul slave and be controlled by him for the rest of her life like a walking dead was a fate worse than death. However, after a while, Rong Yan's survival instinct occupied her soul again. After a person knelt once, they would get used to kneeling a second time and a third time. After the invasion of the 3 races, she had surrendered. In fact, at that time, she had already let go of her pride and dignity. Therefore, after a moment of silence, she said, Lord Lu, how about I be your slave for 1,000 years? You must swear a chief god blood oath to return my freedom after 1,000 years. Otherwise, I'd rather die. Then go to hell. Lu Li swung the traceless saber in his hand and pressed toward Rong Yen. Rong Yen was panicking. She said in a hurry, 5,000 years, no, 10,000 years? You have no right to bargain. Lu Li said coldly. Either you surrender unconditionally or you die. Lu Li lifted the saber in his hand. It was glaring as he poured his source energy into it. He was ready to hack at Rong Yen at any time. The cold killing intent made Rong Yen tremble. Rong Yen thought for a while. Her expressions changed constantly. She could see that Lu Li's saber was glowing brighter and his killing intent was getting stronger. She said, Lord Lu, 100,000 years. 100,000 years should be enough, right? 3, 2, 1. Lu Li started the countdown. At the count of 1, Rong Yan's mind collapsed. She said, I surrender, I surrender. I will do whatever you say. Too late. Lu Li hacked at Rong Yan's head with force. The next second, a relic helmet appeared over Rong Yan's head. It was an advanced one. Lu Li's move was blocked by the relic helmet, but there was a crack on the relic helmet. Whoosh! Lu Li hacked at her again and again. Rong Yan's helmet was cracked and her head was injured. Rong Yan was in a panic. She said, "Lord Lu, stop. I will do whatever you say. I am willing to be your dog. I will do whatever you want me to do." Lu Li sneered. "I will tell you the truth. I never thought about letting you live. The creed of the Holy Maiden sect is twisted. A sect like yours cannot survive in the world. Demons like you cannot live in the world. How many innocent girls have been harmed by you? You deserve to die." Boom, 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 boom. Lu Li hacked at her. Rong Yan's head was crushed and the master of the Holy Maiden sect died. Almost all the master and powerful warriors of the Holy Maiden sect were killed. Lu Li didn't have to worry about the rest. The Celestial Emperor sect would wipe the Holy Maiden sect off the face of the world. After Rong Yan was killed, Lu Li took a look at the main peak. Many disciples of the Holy Maiden sect were trembling, fearing that Lu Li would kill them all. Lu Li didn't bother to kill those low-level disciples. He left on his battleship after he made sure that there were no powerful warriors. The ruins of divinity had almost been pacified. The Celestial Emperor sect could take care of the rest. Lu Li didn't have to worry about such trifles. What he should be concerned about was the counterattack of the allied forces of the 3 alien races and the reaction of the rhinoceros ape. Lu Li had asked the Grim Reaper of the Universe region to keep an eye on the rhinoceros ape. If there was any movement, Grim Reaper would send a message. Lu Li went back to the Celestial Emperor city. The city had been restored. The damaged palaces were repaired and the destroyed castles were rebuilt. Because of the gathering of many families and sects, the city had regained its prosperity. When Lu Li returned, a patriarch of the Celestial Emperor sect came to greet him with the so-called big shots in the city. "Welcome, Lord Lu." Hundreds of thousands of warriors dropped to one knee. Their eyes were filled with passion and respect. Lu Li had defeated the 3 alien races and wiped out the Holy Maiden sect all by himself. Lu Li was the savior of the ruins of divinity. If it were not for Lu Li, the ruins of divinity would have sunk into oblivion and the civilians would have been enslaved by the 3 alien races. Lu Li was the savior of the ruins of divinity. Rise! The runes on Lu Li's battleship disappeared. He appeared on the deck. He waved his hand with a smile and glanced over the warriors on the ground. His gaze suddenly stopped as he saw 2 familiar figures. Whoosh! He flew down from the battleship and arrived in front of a beautiful lady and a strong man. Lu Li grinned and said, "Sister, brother Hu, it has been a while." The beautiful lady's cheeks blushed. She was in high spirit. The strong man's cheeks were glowing as well. His hands were trembling with excitement. The pretty lady said with a grin, "Little brother, I didn't know that you still have me as your sister." "Ning Shui, mind your manners." A dignified middle-aged man next to her scolded, "Bow to Lord Lu. He is the savior of the ruins of divinity." "Ha ha ha." Lu Li laughed and said, "Wang family master, you don't have to do this. I am not a man who will forget old friendships. Sister Ning Shui, you have taken care of me and I am grateful. Brother Hu and the Hu family have done me a great favor. If I could forget this, I would not be a human being." "Okay." Hu Siming was so excited that he was about to cry. He grabbed Lu Li's arm and said, "Lu Li, I was right about you. You are my good brother. Wang family and Hu family are going to rise to the top." Many powerful warriors of other families and sects nearby were filled with jealousy. Lu Li was almost the uncrowned king of the ruins of divinity. Because of Lu Li, Wang family and Hu family would rise to the top. In a few hundred years, they would become the top families of the ruins of divinity. Remember the mobile website. Chapter 3560 Rise to the Top, page 1/1, bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 3555. Luli paid no attention to those sections. He chatted with the patriarch of the Celestial Emperor sect for a bit and then said to Hu Siming with a smile, "Brother Hu, do you have a place to stay in the Celestial Emperor city? I have nowhere to stay. Can I go to your place for a while?" "Welcome, welcome," Hu Siming said with excitement. "Brother Lu, if you want to stay with us, we will welcome you with open arms. But our old manor, well, the new one has just been built. It is a bit shabby. If you don't mind, we will welcome you." "Really?" Luli could read between the lines. He asked with a frown, "Where is your old manor? I remember it was not destroyed in the last war." Well, Hu Siming was embarrassed. He turned to the family patriarch of the Hu family, who shook his head, indicating that Hu Siming should not talk nonsense. Luli saw this as well. He pulled a long face and snorted, "Brother Hu, don't worry. Tell me the truth. Where is your yard? Who took it? Tell me." Hu Siming scratched his head in embarrassment. Under Lu Li's aggressive stare, Hu Siming made up his mind and said, "It was taken by the Sunlight sect. Lu Li, it is not a big deal. We are building a new manor. It will be fine." Sunlight sect? Lu Li turned to the patriarch of the Celestial Emperor sect and asked, "Patriarch Gui, what is going on? Can you give me an explanation?" Emperor Gui smiled apologetically and said, "It is not a big deal. Lu Huang, many sects have come to the Celestial Emperor city, right? Some buildings in the Celestial Emperor city were destroyed. Those sects are allies. So, I am sorry for the Hu family. Don't worry. We will make it up to you." "Don't worry," Lu Li said coldly. "The Sunlight sect is impressive. Where is the master? Come out and let me have a look." Lu Li glanced over. Many powerful warriors from different sects lowered their heads under his majestic eyes. Some warriors looked at an old man. That old man blushed. He forced a smile and said, "Lu Huang, we are not going to take the Hu family's house. We are just staying here for a while. All of our sect's experts have come all the way here for the sake of brotherhood. It's just a manor, there's no need to make it so serious." A young man next to the old man said with some dissatisfaction, "That's right. It's just a manor. What's so great about it? In our Guangyang city, what can we not have? We're giving them face by staying in their courtyard." Lu Li did not have a good temper. Given his current identity and status, even a warrior that was infinitely close to the consummate realm, let alone the master of the Sunlight sect, was nothing. How many Saint Emperors wanted to see the Grim Reaper but didn't have the chance? How could an overlord be so eccentric? And that young master was throwing a temper at him? Xiao! He raised his hand and slapped. His hand disappeared in midair and appeared in front of the young man in the next second. The young master spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. His face was deformed and many of his teeth flew out. He even knocked away a few warriors. You, the master of the Sunlight sect, was enraged. He pointed at Lu Li. A glint of coldness rose in Lu Li's eyes. He took out the traceless saber and hacked at the master of the Sunlight sect. Following a glare, the master of the Sunlight sect was killed in an instant. Hiss, hiss, everyone gasped and kept quiet out of fear. How cruel and brutal was Lu Li to kill a master of the Sunlight sect just because of a disagreement. The patriarch of the Celestial Emperor sect was taken aback. Soon, he came to his senses. This man was no longer the old Lu Li. He was so powerful that he could defeat the 3 alien races. Even Lord Li was nothing to him, not to mention the patriarchs. The patriarch stood up and shouted, "Take down all the warriors of the Sunlight sect. How dare they talk back to Emperor Lu? Unforgivable!" Whoosh, 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 warriors of the Celestial Emperor sect took action. They targeted the warriors of the Sunlight sect and took them down one by one. Patriarch Gui smiled apologetically and said, "Emperor Lu, what do you think we should do with them? Throw them out. Don't let me see them again." Lu Li waved his hand and put away the traceless saber. Taking Hu Siming's hand, he said, "Let's go, brother Hu. Tonight we will drink until we are drunk." Lu Li left with Hu Siming and Wang Ningxue, powerful warriors of the Wang family, and the Hu family went to accompany Lu Li at the suggestion of the patriarch of the Celestial Emperor sect. Many other powerful warriors wanted to butter up to Lu Li. However, Lu Li didn't want to talk to them. Therefore, they didn't dare to approach him. The family patriarch and the patriarch of the Hu family were thrilled. Hu Siming didn't understand, but they did. Lu Li killed the master of the Sunlight sect not only to vent his anger, but also to send a message. From now on, if anyone dared to bully the Hu family, they would have to consider if Lu Li would kill their entire family. Back then, to help Lu Li, the Hu family sacrificed a progenitor warrior. Back then, many patriarchs of the Hu family were indignant. Now all the patriarchs believed that Yen Zhu's sacrifice was worthwhile. Because of Lu Li, the Hu family was going to rise to the top. As long as Lu Li was alive and the endless ruins were fine, the Hu family would become the second most powerful force after the Celestial Emperor sect. Even though the Hu family was weak compared to many sects and families, they had Lu Li's support. Patriarchs of the Hu family and the other warriors got busy. First, they took over the manor and then they made arrangement. Soon, the banquet was ready. Lu Li and the patriarchs of the Hu family and the Wang family were talking and laughing. Wang Ningxue, who was sitting on the side, was confused. Was this her little brother? How come he had become so powerful after disappearing for so many years? She felt that Lu Li was not just a little bit stronger than her, but several levels higher. Hu Siming was drunk. He put his arms around Lu Li's shoulders and cried. Lu Li didn't mind. Even though Hu Siming was weak and he was no different from an average person to Lu Li, that was how Lu Li was. He cherished old friendships and he would return the favor with a gushing spring. "Sister!" Halfway through their drinks, Lu Li suddenly walked over with a goblet in his hand. He toasted to Wang Ningxue and said with a smile, "Sister, you are not young anymore, right? Do you have a good son-in-law? Bring him out and let me have a look." Wang family patriarch and patriarchs were nervous. Some patriarchs even winked at Wang Ningxue. Their meaning was clear. If Wang Ningxue could marry Lu Li, then the Wang family would soar. Wang Ningxue, however, turned a blind eye to the patriarchs. She blushed. She lowered her head and said shyly, "I have a sweetheart. But my father doesn't agree." Lu Li understood. Wang Ningxue wanted him to back her up. Lu Li laughed and said, "Sister, go and get him here. If he is a good person, send him to the chaotic star region to train for a period of time. Other things aside, as long as he is talented, he can reach the peak of the Emperor realm." Ah! Wang Ningxue was overjoyed. She looked up and said, "He is talented, even better than me. It's just that he was not born in a good family. If you can train him, he will be faster than me in cultivation." Ha 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 ha. Lu Li laughed and said, "Okay, go and get him. I will make the decision for you today. If it is okay with you, I will be the matchmaker and we will settle this." Third Sect Master. Chapter 3556. Wang Ningxue was a girl of character, which Lu Li had sensed back in the days. Wang Ningxue was a beautiful girl as well. That being said, Lu Li only had feelings for her as a sister and a junior brother, not as a man and a woman. Now that Wang Ningxue needed his help, he would do his best. Young ladies from wealthy families did not have much control over their marriages. Rarely could they marry a man they liked. For the sake of Wang Ningxue's lifelong happiness, Lu Li had to cross the line this time. Wang Ningxue ignored the looks from Wang family patriarch and patriarch. An hour later, she came back with a dark and skinny man. This man looked like an honest person, and there was nothing special about him. He must have been a little nervous when he saw the Wang family, and his breathing was a little hurried. He was a little shy and lowered his head, not daring to look at anyone. He was still at the sixth tribulation. Wang Ningxue, on the other hand, was at the quasi-emperor realm. There was a good chance that she could reach the emperor realm. Lu Li understood why the Wang family looked down on this dark man after a few glances. He didn't have the bearing of a young master from a prestigious family, nor did he have powerful fighting abilities. He had no background. Naturally, a young lady of the Wang family would marry a young master from a wealthy family, one that could bring help to the Wang family. Lin Fan. Wang Ningxue said nothing after the dark man came in. She said angrily, "Come and greet my father, patriarchs, lords of the Hu family, and my brother, Lu Huang." The black lump hurriedly bowed and greeted in a deep voice, "Lin Fan greets Patriarch Wang, greets the elders, greets the lords of Hu clan, greets Emperor Lu." Wang family patriarch nodded indifferently. Many patriarchs of the Wang family showed their dissatisfaction. The Hu clan, on the other hand, loved to watch the fun. The Hu clan and the Wang clan had always been friends. They were very happy to see the Wang clan head and the Wang clan elders being embarrassed. They were all concerned about Lin Fan and treated him warmly as if Lin Fan was going to marry a young lady of the Hu family. Lu Li had been observing Lin Fan. At first, Lin Fan was embarrassed and nervous. But soon, he got used to it. His eyes were resolute and his back was straight. He was a man of few words and would only answer when someone asked him a question. But every now and then, he would look at Wang Ningxue with deep affection. "Lin Fan," Lu Li said. He didn't ask about Lin Fan's situation. Instead, he said coldly, "Lin Fan, just now, the Wang family has betrothed my senior sister to me. So I will give you two options. Either fight with me or leave the celestial city." Ah! Wang Ningxue was startled, the Wang clan leader was startled, and the people from the Hu clan were also startled. Wang Ningxue turned pale. She was about to say something when Lu Li said to her, "Sister, don't worry. Listen to me." Lu Li's momentum began to grow. He took out the traceless saber. The surging killing intent pressed on like a falling mountain. Lin Fan's expressions changed. He was trembling. He looked up at Lu Li in fear. People are shadows, trees are bark. Lu Li was too famous. Lin Fan had been hearing news about Lu Li everywhere. He wiped out the Bloodrock race, defeated the Boring Blade race, defeated the Talisman race, and wiped out the Holy Maiden sect. Not even all the powerful warriors of the Endless Ruins could have done this. But Lu Li had done it. Though Lu Li seemed to be at the initial stage of the Saint King realm, Lin Fan knew very well that Lu Li's abilities must be so strong that he could kill him in one move. He was taken aback as well. Wang Ningxue said that Lu Li would stand up for them. What had changed? Lu Li wanted to marry Wang Ningxue? Wang family was overjoyed after a moment of surprise. They were more than willing for Wang Ningxue to marry Lu Li. But family leader of the Hu family understood. Lu Li was not a man with nothing better to do than to humiliate Lin Fan. Therefore, family leader of the Hu family stood up and said, "That is right. Lin Fan, you have two options. Either you fight with Lu Huang and defeat him, or get out of the Celestial City and never show up in front of my niece Ningxue again. Otherwise, we will have to kill you." Lin Fan's expressions changed. He looked at Wang Ningxue and saw the urgency on her face. His eyes flickered. He thought for a moment and said, "Lu Huang, you are strong and you are the benefactor of the endless ruins of gods. But for Ningxue, I choose to fight with you." Having made up his mind, Lin Fan made up his mind. He didn't care about anything else. He just stared at Lu Li. Fighting with Lu Li at the 6th Tribulation Realm was no different from courting death. His courage was worthy of recognition. Let's go. Lu Li walked out with his hands clasped behind his back. Lin Fan followed him, followed by family leader of the Wang family, Hu family leader and other higher-up. There was an empty field outside the hall. Lu Li was standing on it. With his hands clasped behind his back, Lu Li looked at Lin Fan and said, "It is not fair for us to fight. So, I will hold back and let you have 10 moves first. If you can hurt me even a little bit, you will win. I will quit and give you my sister." Lin Fan pulled a long face and said coldly, "First of all, I don't need you to let me win. Since this is a competition, then let it be a full-scale competition. If you let me win, you will be disrespecting Ningxue. Second of all, Ningxue is not a commodity. How can you call it giving her away? So, please do your best. I can die with no regret." "Okay," Lu Li shouted. He was at the peak of his strength. Carrying the traceless saber in his hand, he walked forward step by step. Lin Fan couldn't even breathe under the pressure. A saber appeared in his hand, but he couldn't even move it. He felt Lu Li was a god. He couldn't summon any will to fight against Lu Li. It was like a sheep facing a tiger. The fear came from the depth of its soul. How could Lu Li fight back? 100 feet, 50 feet, 30 feet. Lu Li was getting closer and closer. The pressure was getting stronger. Even family leader of the Wang family and patriarchs of the Hu family felt it was hard to breathe. The higher-ups of the two families had the same thought. If they were in Lin Fan's shoes, would they dare to draw their sabers against Lu Li? Hoi! While all the warriors were holding their breaths, Lin Fan suddenly roared. He rushed forward, held the saber in both hands and hacked at Lu Li's head. In this atmosphere, this move was earth-shattering and domineering. Bang! With a slight sound, warriors of the Wang family and the Hu family were stunned. Lu Li didn't do anything. He just reached out one hand and grabbed the saber blade. His hand felt like a pair of pincers, and the saber couldn't be moved at all after being grabbed by him. Bang! Lu Li squeezed harder and the saber was crushed. The horrifying qi and energy spread out. Lin Fan was smashed away. He was hurt. He stepped back for more than a dozen steps and spat out blood. He was frustrated. After a while, he looked up at Lu Li and said, "I have lost. I hope you can take good care of Ningxue. I wish you happiness." With that said, he looked into Wang Ningxue's eyes and left without any hesitation. However, he had just taken a few steps when he felt something moving in front of him. Lu Li appeared in front of him. Lu Li said with a gentle smile, "Lin Fan, you did well. Congratulations on passing. Please take care of Sister Ningxue from now on." Sect Master 3. Chapter 35-57. Ah! Lin Fan paused for a second. He suddenly looked at Wang Ningxue, only to see the deep affection and smile on her face. Then he looked at Lu Li's expression. He finally understood. He bowed to Lu Li at once. "Ha ha ha!" Lu Li laughed. He turned to the family patriarch of the Wang family and said, "Family patriarch, I think this Lin Fan is good. I want to take him to the chaotic star region and train him well. Do you want to do me a favor and fulfill their wish?" Lu Li had tested Lin Fan. He was talented, but he lacked resources. Lin Fan could reach the peak of the Imperial Warrior realm with proper training. But whether or not he could reach the Saint Emperor realm would depend on his luck. The Saint Emperor realm was not something that could be reached with resources. It was all about one's luck and luck. Lin Fan was brave enough to fight against Wang Ningxue. He risked his life for Wang Ningxue. If Lu Li were a rival in love, Wang Ningxue would kill Lu Li in one move without mercy. It was rare that Wang Ningxue dared to fight against Lu Li when Lu Li was so powerful. Maybe not even patriarchs of the Wang family and the Hu family had the courage to fight Lu Li. In the end, Wang Ningxue lost. He left without saying anything, which made Lu Li very happy. Wang Ningxue was right about Lin Fan. He was a good son-in-law. Lu Li himself was born in a poor family. He had a weak sense of family status. He even resented it. Lin Fan was born in a poor family. It was already difficult for him to reach the sixth tribulation realm. A son-in-law like Lin Fan would be much better than those playboys. What else could Wang family patriarch say when Lu Li said that he wanted to train Lin Fan? Wang family patriarch said with a smile, "Since Emperor Lu has spoken, I will agree. Lin Fan, I hope you can cultivate with Emperor Lu and take good care of Ningxue." "Thank you, father." Wang Ningxue almost jumped up in joy. Lin Fan was overjoyed as well. He dropped to one knee and said, "Uncle Wang, thank you. Thank you, Emperor Lu. Thank you." "Ha ha ha ha, let's drink." Lu Li laughed and walked in. A group of powerful warriors came in. Wang Ningxue dragged Lin Fan in as well to toast to the seniors. Lin Fan had only suffered a minor injury, so he didn't even need to heal himself. He immediately started toasting. Moreover, he was very heroic. Others drank 1 cup, but he drank 3 cups. He didn't use his martial arts to transform into wine. Towards the end, Lu Li suddenly remembered something. The ring on his hand glowed and a saber appeared. He threw it to Lin Fan and said, "Lin Fan, I just broke your saber. Now I will give you another one." Lin Fan caught the saber and glanced at it. His face was filled with excitement. The saber that Lu Li gave him was of a very high level. It was a holy weapon, a very high-level holy weapon at that. The runes on it were densely packed, and one look was enough to tell that it was a very high-grade weapon. The ruins of endless gods had many emperor weapons but few holy weapons. Even the Lin family only had one holy weapon. How could Lu Li give away such an advanced holy weapon so easily? The higher-ups of the Hu family and the Wang family were excited. Lu Li was being too generous. He had only crushed an ordinary weapon, but he had received a super saint weapon? Wang Ningxue pouted and said, "Brother, you are so biased. You don't even give me a gift." "Ningxue, mind your manners." Wang family patriarch scolded her. "Ha ha ha ha." Lu Li laughed. His hand glowed again. A beautiful red sword appeared. He threw it to Wang Ningxue and said, "Sister, this is for you. Consider it your wedding gift." "Another super saint weapon?" People in the hall exclaimed. The higher-ups of the Wang family were delighted. Lin Fan and Wang Ningxue were both from the Wang family. Lu Li had given 2 super saint weapons to the Wang family. Also, Lu Li wanted to train Lin Fan. If he could reach the peak of the Emperor realm, or even the Saint Emperor realm, then the Wang family would rise completely. The Hu family, on the other hand, was envious. Lu Li was indebted to the Hu family. Now, the sword was only for the Wang family? Why didn't he give some to the Hu family? Ha ha ha. Lu Li laughed again when he saw how the patriarchs of the Hu family were behaving. He took out an armor and a huge axe. He gave them to Hu Simring and said, "Brother Hu, this armor and weapon are suitable for you. When we are done here, you can come with me to the chaotic star region. If you cultivate diligently, you can reach the Emperor realm." "Well, Sister Ningxue, come with me." Hu Simring took over the armor and the axe. He said in embarrassment, "Brother Lu, I can go with you to the chaotic star region. But the gifts are too expensive." Ha ha. Lu Li smiled and said, "We are so close. Do you need to be so polite? I have killed over 10,000 Saint Emperor Realm warriors over the years. Holy weapons are nothing to me. You are not treating me like a brother if you keep being so polite." "Okay." Hu Siming grinned. The patriarchs of the Hu family were happy but also shocked. Saint Emperors were the most powerful warriors in the endless ruins of gods. Lu Li had killed over 10,000? He was a god of death. The banquet lasted until midnight. Many people were drunk. The higher-ups of the Wang family and the Hu family were happy. Not only did they receive relic weapons from Lu Li, but Lu Li's attitude could help the Wang family and the Hu family soar. Of course, the premise was that Lu Li must help protect the endless ruins of gods. If the three alien races came back and killed Lu Li, or if Lu Li fled in defeat, the Wang family and the Hu family would not be able to soar. They might even be wiped out by the three alien races because of their good relationship with Lu Li. Therefore, at the end of the banquet, the Wang family patriarchs and the Hu family patriarchs asked this critical question, but in a subtle way. They were asking if the three alien races would come back and if Lu Li was confident that he could defeat them. Of course they will. Lu Li gave a firm answer. But his second question was ambiguous. He said with a smile, "You don't have to worry about the three races. I will take care of it. Just focus on developing your families and strengthening yourselves." Lu Li stayed at the Hu family and so did a patriarch of the Heaven Emperor sect. It was Lord Li who sent a message back, telling the patriarch to follow Lu Li's orders. Lu Li didn't give any orders. He just told Lord Li to clean up the remaining warriors of the three alien races in the endless ruins of gods and the Holy Lady sect. Also, he sent out a large number of scouts to investigate the void outside the endless ruins of gods. Scouts must be sent out to guard all the passageways. The three alien races had just been wiped out and they had lost half of their warriors. The three alien races would not act rashly. But they would come back. It would take time, and they had to report to the rhinoceros ape race. It would take at least half a year. Lu Li was not in a hurry. The rhinoceros ape race was monitored by the Grim Reaper of the universe region. If anything happened, the Grim Reaper would send a message to Lu Li. When the rhinoceros ape race did not make a move, Lu Li would not panic no matter what the three alien races did. Three patriarchs. Chapter 35-58. Time flew by. Soon, 4 months had passed. Lord Li led warriors and armies in the endless ruins to clear out the three alien races. Only the boring blade race and the rune race managed to escape from the endless ruins. The Holy Lady sect was wiped out. Many other sects that surrendered to the three alien races along with the Holy Lady sect were wiped out as well. Some other sects escaped into some secret realms. Lord Li continued to organize the affairs of the endless ruins. At the same time, he dispatched many scouts to the outside of the void, as per Lu Li's instructions. Scouts were sent to guard the passageways as well. Lord Li even asked a divine rune master to build runes to seal off all the passageways. In this way, all the scouts outside would be killed. Once the runes were broken, the scouts inside would be informed as well. That would be a warning. Lord Li returned to the Celestial Emperor city. Lu Li met him but did not talk much with him. Lord Li could not deal with the three alien races and the rhino ape race alone. Therefore, it was pointless to talk to him. What Lu Li needed now was information. As long as he was provided with accurate information, everything else would be easy to discuss. Lu Li didn't care about the endless ruins, but he told Lord Li to take good care of the Wang family and the Hu family. For Lord Li, Lu Li's order was the highest order. He conferred the two regions near the Celestial Emperor sect to the Wang family and the Hu family at once. The two regions had a large number of resources and warriors. As long as the Wang family and the Hu family could manage well, in a few hundred years, they could become top families. The Wang family and the Hu family did not relocate because the situation was not clear. What if the three alien races came? By then, the Celestial Emperor sect would be destroyed. What was the point of having such a large territory? As long as the situation was stabilized, the Celestial Emperor sect would be stable. When the Celestial Emperor sect was stable, the Wang family and the Hu family would not be able to run away. The Wang family and the Wang family were overjoyed. They were grateful to Luli. Some young ladies of the Hu family and the Wang family swayed in front of Luli, intentionally or not. They were not powerful, but they were the prettiest. Also, the tenderness in their eyes and the amorous feelings that were released inadvertently made Luli feel that these young ladies were all prostitutes with insatiable desires. They wanted him to rush up like a wolf, tear apart their clothes and ravage them. Luli was not moved. He didn't want to get involved in more love affairs, so he turned a blind eye to the sorrowful looks of the girls. He spent the whole day drinking tea and chatting with Hu Simring and Wang Ningxue. Occasionally, he would go into seclusion or think about his future path of cultivation. Another 2 months passed by quickly. The Grim Reaper sent news that the Rhinoceros Ape Clan had finally made a move. The Rhinoceros Ape Clan dispatched 20 experts who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection and flew over on a warship. Obviously, these 20 powerhouses who were infinitely close to the consummate realm were here for Luli together with the allied forces of the 3 alien races. They planned to conquer the endless ruins of gods and erase Luli from the world both physically and spiritually. Send a message back. Luli said to his trump card, Grim Reaper, send a message to the Grim Reaper of the Tianyu Universe region to find out. You can even ask some old demons to make some noise to make sure if the rhino apes are here or not. I want them to think of a way to confirm that the Great Perfection stage of the rhinoceros ape race is still in Sky Universe Star region. Luli was most worried about the Absolute Completion realm. As long as he was sure that the Absolute Completion realm had not made a move, then he had nothing to fear. He was afraid that the Great Perfection deity would secretly sneak over. While he was fighting with the group of powerhouses, that Great Perfection deity would suddenly appear and kill him with a single move. However, he guessed that the Great Perfection cultivators of the rhinoceros ape race probably wouldn't make a move. After all, they were proud. Luli did not attack the home of the rhino apes, and it was just some trifling matters of an affiliated universe. How could they be dispatched so easily? What was more, Luli was an Emperor Realm warrior back in the day. An Emperor Realm warrior had subdued a super race and rendered 2 warriors at the absolute peak helpless. Many races in the Tianyu Star region would not believe this. Paragon-level powerhouses were all prideful, and it was impossible for them to make a move over such a small matter. If word of this got out, they would become the laughingstock of the other Paragon-level powerhouses of the Sky Universe star field. The news was sent back to the headquarters of Grim Reaper, which took it seriously. They sent a message to the Tianyu Star region, asking them to find out the whereabouts of the Absolute Completion realm of the rhinoceros ape race at all costs. The Great Patriarch of Grim Reaper could use the resources and wealth accumulated over the years there at will. When the Great Patriarch of Grim Reaper received the news, he made a move at once. He spent a lot of money to hire several old demons and then killed his way into an affiliated universe of the rhinoceros ape race. The mission of these old demons was simple. They were to lure out the Absolute Completion realm of the rhinoceros ape race. As long as the spies bribed by Grim Reaper confirmed that the Absolute Completion realm of the rhinoceros ape race had made a move, their mission would be accomplished. The old demons could then take the money and leave the Tianyu Star region. The old demons began to burn, kill, and loot in the universes controlled by the rhinoceros ape race. The rhinoceros ape race was enraged, and the powerful warriors of the race moved out. But those old demons all fled as soon as they succeeded, and then went to other universes to loot. The rhinoceros ape race itself had mobilized 20 powerful warriors that were infinitely close to the Absolute Completion realm to the endless ruins of gods. There were not many powerful warriors left in the race, and they had to guard so many universes. These old demons were quite strong, and most importantly, they were very good at escaping. After chasing them for a month, they still hadn't been able to kill them, and one of their elders had even been killed. A month later, the leader of the rhinoceros ape race was enraged. He set off in person to hunt down those powerful warriors. When the leader of the rhinoceros ape race set off, he did not hide his track. The Grim Reaper in the main city of the rhinoceros ape race sensed him. The chi and energy of a warrior at the absolute completion realm were so strong that it was easy to tell. The news was sent back to the headquarters of Grim Reaper, who relayed it to Luli at once. Luli was relieved. Scouts outside the void sent back information as well. The allied forces of the three alien races were gathering. At the moment, there were tens of millions of warriors. Their battleships covered the sky and the earth. Another month later, the allied forces moved. They flew toward the endless ruins of gods quickly. They would arrive in a month. Luli set off as soon as he received the news. He wanted to set the battlefield outside the void. For him, it didn't matter where the battlefield was. At least, outside the void could reduce the loss of the endless ruins of gods. I am going out now. I will fight outside. Luli called Lordly over and said, I will try to set the battlefield outside the void to stall them and destroy them. But if they send in armies and powerful warriors, you will suffer as well. I cannot take care of both. So, I suggest that you hide a large number of powerful warriors and go to the secret realm. You can come out after the war. But Lordly was troubled. He made up his mind and said, what if the three alien races start a massacre in retaliation? Are we going to sit back and watch them kill our people? Emperor Lu, don't worry. I will make arrangements. I will send a large number of elite warriors to the secret realm, and we will stay here. If we die in battle and you win this battle, please take good care of the endless divine ruins in the future. Third Master. Chapter 35-59. Battleships whizzed by in the endless void. There was no end in sight. The temperature in the endless void was low and it was silent. The battleships made no sound as well. They were like beasts moving silently in the void. There were at least tens of thousands of battleships, blotting out the sky and the ground. There was no end in sight. If a weak warrior was traveling in the void, he would wet his pants. Transparent shields were activated on the battleship. All the battleships were filled with warriors. Their swords and armors reflected a white light, giving off a chilling yet murderous aura. It was enough to make people's hearts palpitate. There were a total of 12 million soldiers from the three races, and almost all of their experts had come. There were 10 experts who were infinitely close to the great perfection level. Adding the 20 supreme experts of the rhino ape race, there were 30 experts who were infinitely close to the great perfection level. There were also hundreds of Saint Kings. The elites of the three races were all here. They could not afford to lose this battle. So many warriors and armies of the three races had been slain in the endless ruins of gods. This was a great blow to the three races. The leaders of the three races were furious. If they did not kill Luli, how could they answer to their dead people? The three races had paid such a heavy price. They had to take the endless ruins of gods or it would be a great loss. There was a huge battleship in the middle of the battleship. It was clearly several times larger than the others. There were fewer warriors on the battleship, only 20 or 30, but all of them were Saint Kings. It was not hard to imagine how powerful the warriors in the cabin were for Saint Kings to stand guard here. This warship had a huge cabin, and there were currently 30 experts sitting in it. The experts of the three clans and the rhino ape race were all here. The tables in the cabin were filled with top-level spirit fruits and fine wine. There were also some beautiful slaves of exotic races kneeling on the ground to serve them. The cabin was filled with laughter and the atmosphere was lively. The warriors of the three races sat at the end, trying to please the warriors of the rhino ape. Boom! Suddenly, there was a loud explosion from the southeast. There was also a huge spatial ripple. The warriors in the cabin stopped talking and looked at each other in confusion. An elder from the 3 clans immediately went out to investigate, and the experts here immediately used their divine telekinesis to investigate. Unfortunately, the place where the explosion occurred was too far away, and their divine telekinesis could not detect it. After a while, an elder of the Blood Rock race returned. He reported that the 2 warships at the side had been attacked by a mysterious expert. The 2 warships had been destroyed, and the soldiers and experts inside had been killed. They had already sent many soldiers and experts to chase after the mysterious expert. A mysterious expert? The leader of the rhinoceros ape clan this time, the 4th elder, frowned and asked, "There are so many warriors over there. Could it be that not a single one of them detected the enemy's appearance? Don't you know what race it is?" "I don't know." The Blood Rock race expert shook his head and said, "That expert immediately went into hiding after releasing 2 attacks. No soldiers were able to detect his whereabouts." Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, an explosion came from the northwest, followed by 2 more violent spatial fluctuations. All the experts in the cabin stood up, their eyes filled with killing intent. Attacking a warship in front of so many powerful warriors was a provocation. They would make the culprit pay the price, no matter who it was. The group of powerful warriors whooshed over to the area where the explosion occurred. They used psychic power to search for the powerful warrior that attacked the warship. However, when they checked with psychic power, they found nothing. The powerful warriors looked at each other. One name came to their mind: Luli. Some warriors and experts of the Boring Blade race and the Talisman race escaped. They came back and told them about Luli. Luli had sent the god of death to negotiate. Therefore, the rhinoceros ape race had some knowledge of Luli's situation. They were able to ascertain Luli's identity at once. Now, a mysterious powerful warrior had attacked them. This powerful warrior could destroy a warship and kill the Saint Kings on the warship. More importantly, this powerful warrior disappeared after he was killed, and they could not find him. This was the rumored Luli's stealth skill. Who else would have the guts to stop them in the void apart from Luli? Would Lordly dare to stop them? He wouldn't dare to come even if he had all the courage. Find him. Patriarch 4 of the rhinoceros ape race was covered in long hair. He had horns on his head. His eyes were as big as bronze bells and he looked ferocious. Patriarch 4 bellowed. A group of powerful warriors spread out to search for Luli. All the powerful warriors spread out. Many warriors were mobilized as well. Many battleships flew to all sides, surrounding the void nearby. As far as they could tell, no matter how fast Luli was, he could not outrun the battleship. As long as the area was surrounded, Luli would not be able to run away. Over 10,000 battleships spread out and surrounded the area. Warriors flew out from the battleships to search for Luli. Over there! Boom! A deafening roar came from the north, followed by the explosion of a signal flare. The experts who were searching in all directions hurriedly flew towards the north. Battleships also whizzed in that direction. However, when the powerful warriors went after Luli, he was nowhere to be found. There is some energy left. He is running to the north. A powerful warrior of the Talisman race shouted. The other warriors were alerted. They went after Luli to the north. Hundreds of thousands of miles later, they saw several deserted worlds. That powerful warrior of the Talisman race pointed to one of them and said, "His energy disappeared in there." Okay. The powerful warriors were thrilled. They spread out and surrounded the deserted world. There were 3 of them and 10 of them. How could they not kill Luli? The deserted world seemed to be large, but it was a piece of cake for 30 powerful warriors to go in and search. Form groups of 3 and spread out. Patriarch 4 shouted and said, "We have found him. Play safe and stall him." Patriarch 4 went in with 2 other patriarchs. The deserted world was shrouded in dark haze, but psychic power was not restricted. They used their divine telekinesis to probe the inside, but they didn't sense any conspiracy. The powerful warriors spread out and searched on their own. Buzzing, 3 powerful warriors of the rhinoceros ape race were searching near a hill when a ray of light came out. The 3 warriors were enveloped by the light and vanished on the spot. The powerful warriors of the 3 alien races nearby were taken aback. They flew over at once. "There are teleportation patterns here." A patriarch of the boring blade race took a look and yelled in surprise. He used psychic power to check the surroundings. All of a sudden, he felt the surroundings were spooky and horrifying. It was as if there were demons hiding in the dark haze that would suddenly jump out and devour them. Buzzing, on the other side, 3 other experts were also teleported away. The news was sent to the 4th elder as he commanded, "Everyone, be more careful. Blast the surroundings and shatter all the divine inscriptions in the area." Boom, 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 boom. Under the 4th elder's command, this wasteland suffered a calamity. Countless mountain peaks were razed to the ground, and every inch of land was bombarded indiscriminately. After more than an hour, many of the teleportation divine inscriptions that were set up were destroyed. Still, they could not find Luli. It seemed that Luli was not here. He had run away. Bang! A patriarch of the rhinoceros ape race suddenly had 3 pieces of his jade talisman cracked. He was taken aback. He flew toward Patriarch 4 and shouted, "Patriarch 4, 3 of our patriarchs are dead. She and the others' jade talismans of life are broken." Chapter 3560. What? Patriarch 4 was taken aback. He thought of something and asked, "She and the others were teleported away?" "Yes." Having confirmation, Patriarch 4 flew into a rage. He shouted, "Stop looking. Luli is not here. Mobilize the army to find she and the others. The teleportation altar cannot teleport them too far. Luli must be nearby." Patriarch 4 flew out of the deserted world with a group of powerful warriors. They did not stop. They began to search nearby. At the same time, the army spread out to search for the 3 dead patriarchs of the rhinoceros race. A moment later, that patriarch of the rhinoceros race cried in sorrow again. He flew over to Patriarch 4 and shouted from the distance, "Patriarch 4, Gu and the others are dead as well. 3 more patriarchs have been killed." Patriarch 4 yelled in rage. 6 powerful warriors were teleported away, and they were all patriarchs of the rhinoceros race. In such a short time, they were all killed. This not only enraged him but also shocked him. How did Luli kill the 6 patriarchs so easily? In such a short time, 6 patriarchs were killed. In total, they only had 30 powerful warriors that were close to the consummate realm. At this rate, Luli would kill them all. "Don't spread out." Patriarch 4 of the rhinoceros race was scared. He gathered all the powerful warriors and only sent out the army to search in case Luli would kill them one by one. Report: an hour later, a Saint King quickly flew over. They discovered the battlefield where the 6 elders had died. They discovered traces of blood and shattered armor, but they did not find any corpses. All of the corpses had disappeared. Ghosts, haunted. Who killed the patriarchs of the rhinoceros race? Is it not just one powerful warrior? Are there many? Did all the death warriors from the chaotic star region come and go? Rumors began to spread among the warriors. They began to panic. The assassin came and went without a trace. He had killed 6 powerful warriors that were close to the consummate realm. This was horrifying. At this rate, when all the powerful warriors were killed, it would be their turn. Patriarch 4 led a group of powerful warriors to the 2 battlefields. Both were in the void. When they arrived, they could smell the strong smell of blood and burnt flesh. Powerful warriors of the Boring Blade race and the Talisman race looked at each other and nodded. The clan leader of the Boring Blade race said, "Patriarch 4, it was Luli. According to our information, the 2 patriarchs that stayed in the Endless Ruins were burned to death." "Yes." The clan master of the Talisman race nodded and said, "Luli has some strange skill of hiding. I don't think we can find him. He also has horrifying flames. If we sneak up on him, we will be killed in an instant." "Is the rumor true?" Patriarch 4 pulled a long face. It was said that Luli possessed the art of concealment that could shock the world and make ghosts cry. Not even a warrior at the consummate level could find him. There was a super race in the Dipper universe, the Guam race. There were 2 warriors at the consummate level of the Guam race, but they were beaten by Luli alone. 4 was not sure. But Lu. But by 4 by Lu, but 4 Lu 4, but and. 4 Lu but. If they were as careless as before, they would probably be completely annihilated this time. There were some powerful warriors that were close to the consummate realm of the rhinoceros race. Including the reclusive progenitors that were nearing the end of their lives, there were about 80 or 90 of them. The 20 powerful warriors were patriarchs in their prime. They could live for tens of thousands of years if they could survive. They were the mainstays of the rhinoceros race. If the 20 patriarchs were to die here, the rhinoceros race would suffer a great loss. After staying near the battlefield for a while, a Saint King quickly flew over. He cried out sorrowfully, "Sirs, a battleship has been attacked and all the soldiers there have been slain. The remains of the 6 sirs have been placed on the battleship, and they've left behind a letter as well. Show me the way." The 4th elder shouted, and the group of experts rushed over, quickly finding the warship. The battleship was not damaged. The more than 1,000 warriors on board were all killed in a miserable way. 4 of the 6 bodies were charred and their appearances were beyond recognition. 2 of the powerful warriors were in a better state. Their heads were smashed. Even though the 4 bodies were charred, the patriarchs of the rhinoceros race could recognize them immediately. They were the 6 patriarchs of the rhinoceros race. Many patriarchs of the rhinoceros race were enraged. They were filled with killing intent. The 6 patriarchs were of the same race as them. Some of them were relatives. How could they not be enraged to see them die in such a miserable way? Swish! Patriarch 4 flew over and grabbed the letter next to the bodies. He waved his hand and said, "Put away their bodies." Several patriarchs took out jade coffins and put away the 6 bodies. The other patriarchs and powerful warriors of the 3 races stared at Patriarch 4. Patriarch 4 opened the letter and read it. He pulled a long face. He threw the letter to a patriarch next to him who read it out. "I am indebted to the Celestial Emperor sect of the Endless Divine Ruins. Therefore, I have to interfere in the affairs of the Endless Divine Ruins. I have no grudge against the rhinoceros race, and I have spoken to your race. But you are stubborn. I have no choice but to stop you by killing. Leave now or I will have to kill all of you. If the rhinoceros race still wants to fight after you die, then I will have to kill my way to the region of universe." How can the Meng race and the Lu race not be tempted when more than half of the patriarchs of the rhinoceros race are dead? If you leave now, I will write off all the grievances between the rhinoceros race and the rhinoceros race. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences. Luli. Luli's letter explained everything clearly. He mentioned 2 races in the letter, which were the biggest enemies of the rhinoceros race. Therefore, Patriarch 4 did not tear up the letter in a fit of rage. The patriarchs passed the letter on one by one. Some of the patriarchs were enraged, some were yelling and some were as silent as Patriarch 4. In the old days, if Luli wrote a letter directly, the patriarchs wouldn't have taken it seriously. But now, things were different. Lu on his own, was facing 30 powerful warriors who were almost at the consummate realm. But he was unstoppable. He killed 6 patriarchs and gave the patriarchs of the rhinoceros race a rude awakening. What Patriarch 4 and the patriarchs feared the most was not Lu's abilities, but Lu's art of stealth. They all came to their senses now. Given their abilities, it would be hard for them to find Lu. Lu could kill any patriarch in an instant. That was to say, if they went on their way to the boundless ruins, they might be killed by Lu one by one. In the end, they would all be wiped out. It would not be a big deal if they died. If Lu went to the headquarters of the rhinoceros race and assassinated their patriarchs. When too many patriarchs were killed or injured, their biggest enemies, the Meng race and the Lu race, would be tempted. By then, the rhinoceros race would be doomed. All the powerful warriors looked at Patriarch 4, waiting for him to make a decision. Patriarch 4 lowered his head and pondered. After the time for one incense stick to burn, he suddenly looked up and said, "Go on, to the boundless ruins." Chapter 3561. There were 2 reasons why Patriarch 4 decided to go to the endless ruins. First of all, he had bragged before he came that he would bring back Lu's head. If he were to go back with his tail between his legs, he would be too ashamed to be Patriarch 4. How could he command others without prestige? The other reason was his absolute trust and respect for their patriarch. As far as he was concerned, there was nothing a warrior at the absolute realm couldn't do. If Lu could really fight against a consummate being, or if they couldn't even detect him, then why would Lu be wasting his time here with them? Threats and letters. A real powerful warrior wouldn't resort to such despicable means. He would just kill his way over. Patriarch 4 believed that a warrior at the absolute realm could kill Lu easily. Patriarch 4 ordered the army to speed up and leave Lu alone. Lu's letter made it clear that the Celestial Emperor sect had done him a favor. As such, Patriarch 4 decided to speed up and kill his way to the endless ruins. By then, he would capture all the powerful warriors of the Celestial Emperor sect and execute them in public. He would like to see if Lu would save them or not. Lu wouldn't dare to attack openly, which meant that he didn't have the courage to fight against a group of powerful warriors. What could Lu do to them when they were all gathered together? Patriarch 4 wanted to crush Lu's sneaky scheme with an open and above-board plan and crush Lu. Patriarch 4 stated his idea. The other patriarchs and powerful warriors of the 3 alien races agreed that Patriarch 4's idea was right. The 3 alien races gathered their armies in one place. All the battleships flew close together. In this way, there would only be thousands of battleships. All the battleships flew close together so that the powerful warriors could cover all the battleships with psychic power. As soon as Lu attacked, they would notice. All the powerful warriors were gathered together and never separated. Patriarch 4 of the Rhinoceros Apes said that Lu would have no chance when all the powerful warriors were gathered together. As for the army, it didn't matter how many died as long as they were not lured away. They would find a chance and kill him in one move. This was Patriarch 4's strategy. He would find Lu's weakness and then all the powerful warriors would work together to kill Lu. If there was no chance, then there was no hurry. They could kill their way to the endless ruins and go straight to the root. As long as they didn't panic, Lu would be the one in chaos. Eventually, he would find a chance to kill Lu. The battleships tore through the air without stopping. Many of the battleships were kept, and 3,000 to 4,000 battleships were lined up side by side. This way, all the battleships were within the range of the divine will of the group of experts. All the experts used their divine wills to scan the surroundings, and they would be able to sense even the slightest movement. The time it took for an incense stick to burn was half an hour. It was terrifyingly quiet, and the experts all relaxed slightly. It didn't matter if he continuously probed, but it was very uncomfortable when his mind was highly strained. Hence, some of the experts started to slack off occasionally. In any case, there were so many experts investigating, and they wouldn't make a difference. Crack, suddenly, the space in front of them fluctuated. Next, a shocking saber light shone. The saber light flashed and disappeared. In the next second, it appeared above a warship. A startling explosion resounded, and a warship exploded. Half of the thousands of warriors on the warship were torn apart by the saber light, and the other half were injured. Luli showed up and then vanished at once. He was gone in a blink of an eye. A group of powerful warriors dashed out from their cabins and attacked the place where Luli showed up. More than a dozen attacks whooshed on, but none of them hurt Luli. Once again, Luli vanished. Teams after teams of warriors dashed out, attacking in all directions. It was a mess. But Luli went into hiding as soon as he made his move. How could they find him? After an hour of effort, Patriarch 4 found nothing. He had to order them to move on. He had a discussion with a group of powerful warriors. If Luli were to take action again, they must react as soon as possible. They had discussed what kind of attacks each powerful warrior was going to use. An hour later, the space behind them began to tremble. Following that, a ray of saber light came out and landed on a battleship. The battleship exploded, and another 1,000 warriors lost their lives. The powerful warriors here took actions at once. Almost as soon as Luli made his move, all of them took actions. They dashed over like sharp swords. 2 of them released a law of space to confine the space there, while the others began to bombard at the sealed space. After the time for one incense stick to burn, nothing happened. Not only did they fail to kill Luli, they couldn't even find a trace of him. After the time for one incense stick to burn, Patriarch 4 waved his hand. All the powerful warriors went back and the battleship moved on. After they left, Luli came out again. But as soon as he came out, he was in stealth mode. Even if there were powerful warriors lurking nearby, they would not be able to see him. He went after the battleship quickly. After he caught up with the battleship, he checked for a while and then continued to attack. After one attack, he went into the realm of magic. Soon, a group of powerful warriors whooshed over. But the attacks could only hover in the air, and could not hurt Luli one bit. Luli had the realm of magic, which was equivalent to a super life-saving skill. He could go into the realm of magic in an instant and nobody could find him. Just like that, the cycle repeated. In the next 3 days, Luli made over 100 moves, and every time, he could kill 1,000 or 2,000 warriors. In just over 100 attacks, he had killed 100 to 200,000 soldiers. However, to the 3 races, this amount of soldiers was nothing more than a drizzle and was nothing. What annoyed the 3 alien races and the powerful warriors of the rhinoceros ape race was that they could not hit Luli even though they were going as fast as they could. Luli felt like he could teleport without making a sound. They could not see him or hurt him, let alone kill him. Patriarch 4 was regretting. He even had the urge to retreat. But he had made his promise. How could he do that? He had to bite the bullet. It didn't matter if some warriors died. Patriarch 4 wouldn't feel bad even if all of them died. After all, they were not the rhinoceros ape race. Moreover, the army was actually useless. These troops were only there to occupy the vast territory of the endless divine ruins. The main battle still depended on the experts. For the next couple of days, Luli stopped using powerful moves. He simply used his source energy to attack. But with the help of the traceless saber, his attacks were more powerful. Every time, he would use 2 moves. Every time, he could smash 2 battleships and kill or injure some warriors. Luli's main goal was to destroy the battleships. If all the battleships were destroyed, then the 3 alien races would have to fly. With so many warriors, they would not be able to fly fast and the situation would become chaotic. By then, Luli could find many opportunities. How could he kill the most powerful warriors on the enemy side without chaos? Luli destroyed one battleship after another at a fast speed. The battleships all had divine patterns, but they were just regular transport ships. How could they stand the might of a supreme weapon? Every time Luli attacked, he could destroy one battleship after another. The three alien races and the powerful warriors of the rhinoceros ape race were helpless. They could only watch as Luli did whatever he wanted, destroyed their battleships and slaughtered their warriors. Chapter 3562. In 13 days, Luli had destroyed all the battleships, not only the ones they were on but also the ones they put away. More than 10,000 battleships were destroyed by Luli. About 600,000 to 700,000 warriors were killed by Luli. It seemed to be a large number, but compared to the number of warriors of the three alien races, it was a drop in the bucket. Casualties didn't matter. What mattered was that without the battleships, they would have to fly. Being defeated by Luli in a one-sided manner, the morale of the warriors was declining. Not only the warriors, but also the powerful warriors were confused and dispirited. Towards the end, the powerful warriors were not as active as before. They felt they were out of energy. Their attacks were futile. They could only blast at the sky like idiots. They had tried many ways and used many moves, but to no avail. Inevitably, they were discouraged and felt powerless. Patriarch 4 and the other patriarchs were wondering if they could kill Luli or not. Would they be able to go to the endless ruins of gods? They were also wondering if this trip was a road to hell for them. Would they all die in the endless ruins of gods? They had made sure of one thing. Luli's hiding skills were unparalleled in the world. None of the powerful warriors that were infinitely close to the consummate realm could find him. Luli's fame was not just for show. He was the real deal. Without the battleships, Luli began his sneak attack again. This time it was the army. Since there were no battleships, the warriors were grouped together, making it easier to kill them. If the warriors were spread out, the powerful warriors would not be able to cover them with psychic power. But if they were grouped together, they would become leeks that could be harvested by Luli. Luli was fast. Naturally, he could not go fast when there were so many warriors flying together. If they were to travel by battleship, it would only take 10 days. Now it would take at least a month. A month seemed to be a short time, but it felt like a long time. All the warriors were in a state of anxiety, especially those on the periphery. They didn't know when they would die. Luli was troubled. The warriors seemed to be in a mess, but the powerful warriors were smart. They had been gathering in the middle and never scattered. Luli didn't have the courage to attack more than 20 powerful warriors. He could easily lose his life there. He only had one cauldron, which could only block one side of the attack. He could only send one of his trump cards, the Grim Reaper, back with his token, and have Lord Lee and all the other powerful experts go into hiding. He also had the civilians evacuate as much as possible and have them enter the various secret realms. If he couldn't kill this group of experts in the void, he could only go to the endless ruins of gods and find a chance to kill them. Luli had tried to figure out a way to separate the group of powerful warriors. Unfortunately, they had been moving together. He was at his wits' end, and could only launch sneak attacks along the way, killing the troops bit by bit and continuing to suppress the morale of the troops and experts. Luli thought about building some runes to see if he could send the powerful warriors away. It was a pity that with so many soldiers, no matter how many divine inscriptions they set up, it would be useless. The soldiers would scout ahead. In the following month, Luli killed another 1 million warriors of the three alien races, but not one powerful warrior. Up ahead was the endless ruins of gods. There was nothing Luli could do. He had tried his best. After all, he wasn't a great perfection deity and wasn't omnipotent. He was here to help, not to risk his life. It wouldn't be worth it to lose his life for the sake of the endless ruins of gods. He had sent one of his trump cards to inform Lordly. If Lordly still didn't go into the secret realm, then there was nothing he could do. Luli couldn't stop them if they were courting death. A large number of troops entered the endless ruins of gods. But the powerful warriors didn't go in. They stayed at the entrances. Luli had to wait outside as well. It took more than a month for the army of 10 million to go in. When all the troops were in, the powerful warriors went in as well. Luli didn't go in with them. Instead, he went in from a nearby entrance. As soon as he went in, he contacted the trump card of death to ask about the endless ruins of gods. The trump card of death had been in touch with Lordly. He had a clear understanding of the endless ruins of gods. As soon as Luli sent the message, Lordly sprang into action. Countless people were moved to nearby small worlds and mystic realms. The more that could go, the better. There were many small worlds and secret realms in the endless ruins of gods. Hundreds of millions of civilians could go to a small world easily. Those civilians were at least of a certain level of cultivation. They could go without food or water for a couple of years. Even though the civilians had entered the secret realms and small worlds quickly, there were too many warriors in the endless ruins of gods. More than half of the civilians hadn't gone in yet. Of course, as time went on, in another 2 or 3 months, half of the warriors would be able to go in. But there was no other way. The time was too short. Those small worlds and secret realms couldn't accommodate so many warriors. The Celestial Emperor sect was disbanded. On the surface, it was nowhere to be seen. The major sects had dispersed as well. Nobody could be seen at their headquarters. All of them had gone underground. But Lordly didn't go into the secret realm. He was hiding. The Celestial Emperor sect considered themselves the protectors of the endless ruins of gods. They would rather fight to the death than watch their civilians being slaughtered. It was a good thing for them to disperse and hide. After all, the armies and powerful warriors of the 3 alien races could not find them. But they could carry out assassinations, which could be of help to Luli. Good. Luli nodded with satisfaction. He told the Grim Reaper to contact Lordly and tell them not to fight head-on but to focus on sneak attacks. They would try their best to help him disperse the powerful warriors of the Rhino Apes and the 3 alien races. As long as they were dispersed, Luli could kill them one by one. The armies of the 3 alien races entered the endless ruins of gods. Patriarch 4 ordered the army to march toward the Celestial City. He wanted to surround the Celestial Emperor sect, capture all the powerful warriors of the Celestial Emperor sect, and execute them in public. He wanted to see if Luli would save them or not. Since the Holy Lady sect and all the other sects were wiped out, the 3 alien races had lost their lackeys in the endless ruins of gods. Naturally, they were in the dark and had no information. Patriarch 4 didn't care. He led the army and flew toward the Celestial City at the top of his speed. He believed the Celestial Emperor sect could run away but not the temple. The Celestial Emperor sect was a big sect. How could they abandon the Celestial City? Everywhere the army passed, the 3 alien races ordered them to kill all civilians they saw. Everywhere the army passed, not even a blade of grass would grow. This was what Patriarch 4 wanted. Luli, you said you wanted to protect the endless ruins of gods. We will slaughter in the endless ruins of gods. How long can you stand it? After more than a month, the army arrived at the Celestial City. But it was an empty city. Patriarch 4 had the army search around. Making sure that there were no other warriors, he shouted in rage, "Go to the west and kill all the way. If Luli doesn't come out, then we will kill all the civilians in the endless ruins of gods." Chapter 3563. Patriarch 4 was enraged. They had killed many along the way and they didn't mind killing more. If they could force Luli out, They wouldn't mind killing all the warriors in the endless ruins. For them, even a region in the Tianyu Star region was nothing, let alone a remote region. There had been cases of a region being destroyed in the Tianyu Star region. Lu Li wanted to protect the endless ruins. How could he stand by and watch a region being destroyed? The army split up into 2 legions, each with 5 million warriors. Then, the most powerful warriors split up as well, with 12 on each side. Patriarch 4 thought 12 patriarchs were enough. Lu Li could only sneak up on 3 or 4 warriors that were infinitely close to the consummate realm. If there were more than 6, Lu Li would not be able to kill 6 of them in an instant. If he couldn't, then it would be Lu Li who would die. Therefore, there was no difference between a group of more than 20 powerful warriors and a group of more than 10. By splitting into 2 teams, they would be able to attack faster, which would force Lu Li out sooner. The army marched toward the west. Patriarch 4 had drawn up a route. The army swept across to the left and right, slaughtering all the cities in the 2 regions nearby. Then, they would gather at the 3rd region. Not even a blade of grass would be spared. This was the principle set by Patriarch 4. The army and the powerful warriors must stay together. If Lu Li attacked, they would find a chance to kill him. If there was no chance, then they would carry on. After all, Lu Li wouldn't dare to attack their most powerful warriors. Patriarch 4 would lead one team in person and Patriarch 8 of the Rhinoceros Ape race would lead the other team. Patriarch 8 was good at seeing the big picture. As long as the powerful warriors stayed together, Lu Li wouldn't be able to do anything to them. After the discussion, the army set off. The 3 alien races had the map of the endless ruins. They just had to slaughter the cities according to the map. Soon, a tragedy happened. Many civilians in small cities didn't have time to evacuate. Many cities didn't have secret areas nearby. They had to travel to other places to enter the secret areas. Therefore, they didn't have the time to enter the secret areas and small world. Wherever the army passed, the civilians were all massacred, and the cities, resources, and treasured lands were all looted clean. Everywhere they went, not even a blade of grass could survive. In merely 10 days, hundreds of tribes and dozens of cities had been slaughtered. More than 10 million people had died. It was only 10 days. If they could sweep across the cities, the death toll would be 10 times or even 100 times higher. 4 warriors of the 3 alien races, the races in the endless ruins were alien races, no different from beasts. For the patriarchs of the Rhinoceros Ape race, the endless ruins were like ants. The scouts hiding nearby quickly spread the news. Lord Li and the other experts in hiding were all infuriated. The 3 alien races were infuriated. This was an attack of annihilation. They gathered together and rushed over. They were prepared to use their lives to defend the endless ruins of God and protect their people. Lu Li didn't do anything during this time. The 3 trump cards of death had been sending him messages. He knew that Lord Li and the others would not sit still. Therefore, Lu Li asked one of the trump cards of death to find Lord Li and the others and told them to gather in a small city. More than half of the warriors in the city had run away. Lu Li knew that Lord Li would not sit still. Therefore, Lu Li asked one of the patriarchs to find Lord Li and tell them to gather in a small city. Over half of the warriors in the city had run away. Now that the news was out, it was more dangerous to stay in the city. In the wild, they might not run into the army. Lord Li sent a message as well. They were told to hide in the mountains and spread out. It would be safer this way. Lu Li went into a castle where dozens of powerful warriors were sitting. The weakest of them were at the Emperor realm, and some were at Saint King's. In total, there were 3 warriors that were very close to the consummate realm. Lu Li took a glance. He knew some of them, but he didn't know the rest. "Greetings, Emperor Lu." The powerful warriors bowed at once. For them, Lu Li was the supreme god, the savior of the ruins of divinity. If it were not for Lu Li, the endless ruins would have been destroyed. Also, the 3 alien races were fighting back and the powerful warriors of the rhinoceros ape race were here. Luli didn't leave either. He stayed to help the warriors of the endless ruins. This was a rare quality. Don't mention it. Luli waved his hand and sat down on the main seat. He said with a serious face, "Now that you all know the situation, I will cut to the chase. I can understand how you are feeling. I have been in the endless ruins for many years and I have feelings for this place. I am heartbroken to see the people here being slaughtered. But," Luli raised his voice, "if you just rush over like this, you will be throwing your lives away. It will be pointless. When you die, the people of the endless ruins will be slaughtered as well. I know you are not afraid of death, but you must die for something." A group of experts had gloomy and dejected expressions. A heavenly king stood up and said, "Lu Wang, what do you think we should do? We will listen to you. We will do whatever you want as long as we can drive away the 3 alien races." "Yes. Emperor Lu, do you have a plan? I will die without a frown if you want me to save the people of the endless ruins." "Emperor Lu, we will do as you say." The other powerful warriors stood up and said. Luli waved his hand and said with certainty, "Don't worry about the tens of millions of enemy warriors or the saint emperors. Only the 30 warriors that are close to the consummate realm. Well, I killed 6 of them outside the void. There are 24 left. I am confident that I can kill them, but I need them to split up. If 2 or 3 of them work together, I am sure I can kill them. I need your help. Figure out a way to separate their powerful warriors and then leave the rest to me. I need you. You can play a greater role instead of throwing your lives away." "Understood." Lordly stood up and said, "Emperor Lu, give us your orders. We will listen to you and we will not do anything rash. We will do as you say. I will cut off the head of anyone who disobeys." "Okay." Luli stood up and nodded. He took out a map and hung it on the wall. Then, he took out a pen and began to draw circles on it. He drew 2 arrows, indicating the directions and trajectories of the 2 armies. Pointing to the map, Luli said, "There are 2 armies. Each army has 12 warriors that are close to the consummate realm. We will deal with the army from the city of Lu first. Based on my men's investigation, I believe they will be heading toward the city of Leaf. We will sneak toward the city of Fan, which is in front of the city of Leaf. Gather some warriors here and have them fight back. You will join the assassination team. At the same time, I will make some arrangements. As long as we can separate them, I will be able to wipe out this army. After that, I will be able to wipe out the second army." "Yes." The group of powerful warriors bowed and answered. Just a moment ago, they were in low spirit. Now they were in a better state of mind. They felt they had found a direction and a backbone. They might not be able to survive if they followed Luli, nor could they save the endless ruins. But at least, there was hope. P.S. There is something I need to do. Chapter 3564. Luli was right. The army on the right was marching toward the Lu City and the Leaf City. Eventually, they would not be able to go around the Fan City. The Fan City was a big city. The army would not let the Fan City go. Luli teleported over as fast as he could. Although there were not many people in the various cities, the teleportation formations were still there. They took out some crystals and easily activated the teleportation formations. After more than a day, they arrived at Fan City. At the same time, countless troops gathered in the vicinity. No matter what level the martial artists were at, they all gathered here. Following Lu Li's instructions, Lord Li and the others began to arrange their troops. Lu Li also went into stealth and began to make arrangements. The army had already arrived at Kargalik. Kargalik was bathed in blood and the army was heading towards Fan City. The advance teams sent by Lord Li had already gone over. Their objective was to disrupt their marching speed and buy time for their side to make arrangements. The advance party was led by 2 Saint Emperors. There were not many soldiers, only a few thousand, and they were not strong either. There were even 5th and 6th tribulations among them. Lord Li's mission was not to fight head-on, but to harass them. These thousands of soldiers split up and advanced separately. They spent a few days before encountering the main army. The thousands of soldiers split into over 100 teams, each team having dozens of people. They had long set up many simple one-way teleportation formations, and then attacked separately. Guerrilla warfare, mobile warfare. Every time they bombarded the army, no matter how many enemies they killed, they would immediately retreat after releasing a round of attacks. They all rushed into the teleportation formation and disappeared into the distance. Moreover, it wasn't just one squad, but several dozen squads attacking from all directions at the same time. It was impossible for an army of several million to be gathered together. The army stretched for tens of thousands of li, and the attackers were still thousands of li away. After releasing their attacks from afar, they immediately fled. It was impossible to chase after them even if one wanted to. In a short period of time, the flames of war rose in all directions. There were battles everywhere, and there were attacks everywhere. The leader of this side was the 8th elder of the rhinoceros ape race. When he discovered that there were troops attacking from all directions, not only did he not panic, but he was also very excited. Slaughtering was meaningless to them. What was the point of massacring cities? He was trying to force Lu Li and the powerful warriors of the Heaven Emperor sect out. Massacring might be exciting for a while, but one would become numb and nauseous after killing for too long. It was like a butcher who killed pigs every day. If he killed too many pigs, he would definitely feel disgusted. Even if they killed wild beasts, they would feel disgusted after killing too many of them. Moreover, the 3 races wanted to rule this large domain. If this large domain became a purgatory or a dead world, then what was the point of them conquering this domain? Therefore, if they could force Lu Li and the Celestial Emperor sect out and kill them all, then their most important mission would be accomplished. Although Lu Li didn't show up, there was an army that was clearly organized. Those warriors were either sent by Lu Li or the Heaven Emperor's sect. If Lu Li or the Heaven Emperor's sect could not wait any longer, then they would have a chance. Sneak attack? Assassination? If Lu Li and the Celestial Emperor sect were capable of wiping them out, would they resort to such tricks? He had long since openly killed his way over. Not only the 8th elder and the others, but even the powerhouses of the 3 clans didn't care about the deaths of some ordinary soldiers. As long as they could wipe out the Celestial Emperor sect and kill Lu Li, it didn't matter if all the warriors had to die. The 3 races had a large population. In a few hundred years, a large number of warriors would grow up again. As long as they could occupy the endless ruins and gain access to the resources here, the warriors of the 3 races would grow up quickly. Regular warriors were like leek. Once they were cut down, another group would grow up. Patriarch 8 told the warriors to gather together, and then go after the warriors and capture them alive as much as possible. It was just a group of dozens of warriors. With Saint Emperors leading the team, it would be easy for hundreds of warriors to capture and kill the warriors. Patriarch 8 ordered all the warriors close to the consummate realm to stay together so that Lu Li wouldn't have any chance. After all, the other side was only sending out some warriors. Saint Emperors would be enough. At Patriarch 8's order, tens of thousands of warriors moved out to search for the warriors. Before these thousands of warriors came, they all knew that they would all end up dead. It was very likely that none of them would survive. But they didn't mind. They were here to court death. They were willing to pay with their lives for the endless ruins. Soon, some warriors were killed. After all, the warriors sent out by the Celestial Emperor sect were weak. They were killed as soon as they moved out. They couldn't even run away. But after killing hundreds of warriors, not a single one was captured alive. Before they were captured, all the warriors blew themselves up. They had poisons hidden in their mouth. They were ready before they came. The remaining warriors were even more cunning. They led the warriors on the other side in circles. Their goal was to buy time. Now that the army had stopped and was chasing after them, they would not be so silly as to throw away their lives. Instead, they led the enemies around in circles. They could do anything as long as they could buy time. Because Patriarch 8 was afraid of traps, he strictly ordered the warriors to stay close to each other. If they went too far, they would have to come back. The warriors didn't dare to do anything rash. They came back after a while. When the army moved on, warriors from the Celestial Emperor sect came again. Wolf tactics. When the enemy advanced, we would retreat. When the enemy chased, we would run. When the enemy retreated, we would chase. The warriors from the Celestial Emperor sect were like a pack of wolves. They had been circling around the army. Once the army sent out warriors to chase after them, they would run away. The army didn't dare to go too far for fear of being separated. Even though they could kill some warriors from the Celestial Emperor sect every now and then, the warriors from the Celestial Emperor sect were still disrupting the army. It should have taken the army 10 days at most to get to the Fan City. They had been on the road for 7 or 8 days and they were only halfway there. The higher-ups of the army were troubled. They sent out 7 powerful warriors close to the Consummate Realm to investigate secretly. But they found no trace of Luli. Luli didn't sneak up on them, either. Even so, the higher-ups of the army didn't dare to act rashly. They were afraid that Luli was hiding in some corner, waiting to bite them to death when they were alone. But they couldn't go on like this. They had only covered a small distance in 7 or 8 days. There were too many warriors like this in the endless ruins. They were as numerous as ants. How long would it take for them to wipe out the entire endless ruins? Don't worry about these small fries. The 8th elder pondered for a moment, then ordered, "Advance at full speed towards the big city in front of us. The citizens of that big city are definitely moving, and these warriors are just delaying our marching speed." Patriarch 8 didn't care what the warriors were doing. Patriarch 8 decided not to care. He had to maintain the absolute strength and concentrate on sweeping across. If Luli and the Celestial Emperor sect wanted to save the civilians, then they would have to fight with force. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.